I love the Hunger Games, but I fucking hate Prim and her mom. You got bombed out of District 12. Okay, you survived. And when you're about to get bombed again,
you're looking for your cat.
Yes.
I feel like Prim was destined to die. And I feel like Katniss was destined to be in the games. Bitch, you and I will fucking start like squaring up if we talk about Gale again. You cannot convince me that Prim did her due diligence as a fucking sister.
No.
I don't care that you're the younger one.
No, she was useless.
What pretty much sums up my problem with Prim is just like, you're old enough to know what's going on and to give a fuck.
Yep.
And to be present for your sister. Finnick spent his entire, like, from him winning the Hunger Games to the Quarter Quell being touched by people that he didn't want to be touched by. And he died being touched by fucking things. And I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Ale, and this is
Carla, and this is Booked Buzzin.
From bestseller to hidden gems, we're going to be sharing our thoughts, reviews, and all the latest buzz with the book world.
That's right. Today we're going to be covering the Hunger Games trilogy by Suzanne Collins.
And this is our third episode covering the series out of, I don't really know how many more.
65?
3,000. And we are going to just kind of finish off talking a little bit more about the secondary characters and going into Prim, because I fucking hated her. So because I love the Hunger Games, and when we first started this covering this trilogy, I said we don't think that the red mic was going to come out, but because we have dived so deep into this trilogy, I realized I actually do hate a couple of these characters. So I'm doing like a halfway mic where like I love the Hunger Games, but I fucking hate Prim and her mom. So yeah, I don't know.
This was actually an epiphany that we had in the previous episode.
Exactly.
Because I never thought about Prim.
Because no one ever talks about Prim. Mm-hmm. Everybody's just kind of like, oh, Prim, yeah, the poor little sister that like everybody protects. But then when you actually read between the lines of Katniss's fucking trauma, you realize, wait a minute, where are her people?
Yeah.
Right? One of the things that really actually made me have the epiphany was actually the conversation that we were starting to have about Boggs. Mm-hmm. Where we were like, wait a minute, like within the short time that he was assigned to her, he was like, this poor girl.
Yeah. No, literally, you were like, he was like a father figure because she was like alone. And while you were saying that, the gears in my head were turning and I was like, wait a minute. She was alone. And I was like, okay, so her mom, first of all, your trauma with the dad dying is gone. So like, why are you not stepping the fuck up now that your daughter's in air vents? But then beyond that, I was like, wait, what about Prim? Like, where the hell are you?
Nowhere and everywhere all at once.
Dude, and like, okay, we very rarely agree on like...
This is true.
Total like dislike for one character.
Yeah.
Usually like you'll see the side of them and I'll see a side of them.
Yeah.
I think that your passion here is stronger than mine, but I don't like Prim. Like, okay. Very strongly don't like her.
Do we agree that we both hate the mom, though?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, because you know what? In the first episode that we did, I didn't like the mom, but I didn't hate her. I was just like, you know what? You're just shitty. Like, you're not a good mom. And like, I understand that maybe there's a layer to you that I cannot wrap my head around. Because one thing about me is that like, if I can't understand something, there's no way that it'll get in my head. And like, I'm talking like geometry. Dude, I almost failed. And I had tutors. Like, my mom was very strict with school. And like, if I got bad grades, she'd rip me a new asshole.
I know.
But even with geometry, she was like, are you okay? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, it wasn't even yelling. Like, she was like, what is wrong with you?
Why aren't you getting this?
Yeah, like, she was like,
geometry was fucking hard, though.
Yeah, but it was like, it no me entraba. Like, I could not get, like, it was as easy as, like, let's say 1 + 1 = 2, and I would be like, 12. Like, I just could not get it.
is that a triangle? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, pretty much. No, like seriously, they'd be like triangle, and I'd be like, that's a circle. So like, I couldn't do geometry, and that's just how my brain works. Like when there's a very different personality, and I just I'm like, but I don't get it. Like Gale, like you were like, oh, but he's just emotionally unavailable, and I'm like, make yourself available. Like I just don't get it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So with Prim's mom, that was my perspective, where I was like, okay, you know what, you're just one of these personalities that like I can't understand.
Okay.
So like I can't fully hate you because like you have something going on mentally that like I can't even fathom.
Okay.
But I didn't like her. Now, after we started talking about Boggs and like how he was literally like, girl, you're all alone, like you need somebody, I was like, wait a minute. What about you, Mother?
Yeah,
and then we kept talking about it, and I was like, dude, and what about you, Prim? Like, aren't you supposed to be her sister who gives a shit about her? And like, everybody saw her living in the hospital, ignoring all the rules, hiding in vents, having panic attacks constantly, nightmares, and like, you're off trying to be a surgeon. Like, fine, have a life outside of your sister, but like, why are you not looking for her? Like, why are you not like by her bedside? And I know she was there randomly, but like, you didn't live there the way you should have.
Here's my thing. Do we know how old she is in the second book?
No. Well, how old was she when she was raped? 12? Because in the second book, she'd be 13. Because it's a year later. Más o menos.
13 to 14 years old.
Okay.
All right.
And then in Mockingjay, she's probably 14 to 15 or 15 to 16.
Okay. So
I guess they're not very clear.
They're not very clear. But let's just aim for anywhere around 14 to 15.
Right.
Yes. She is still a kid.
Does this change your mind a little bit?
No, not at all.
No, I think it did a little dent.
A little dent.
Yeah.
A tiny.
I saw that like, oh, damn it.
I know. You know me so well. Like, wait, fuck.
You were like, shit.
Should I change the color of this? I'm just kidding. Okay, no. For
I
real.
Still have critiques,
I still have critiques because here's the thing.
You grew up in a dystopian world.
That's the thing.
You're more grown than your actual age.
Correct. Because you've been through so much hard shit. And like, I understand that a part of this goes back to like what we were talking about around like, they sheltered her so much that she didn't realize like the reality. But here's my thing. You can only be
sheltered so much in this environment.
Correct. But here's my thing. Okay. I'm going to like skip a little bit ahead to Mockingjay, which is where like I left off when I was kind of like diving deep into like understanding why I fucking hate Prim. And I know everybody's going to be like, she's a kid, but you went through a whole dystopian fucking world. You got bombed out of District 12. Okay? You survived. And when you're about to get bombed again.
You're looking for your cat?
Yes. What the fuck?
You know what's crazy too? It's that like
are we fucking serious?
If it was me, I'd be like, bro, my fucking sister is like constantly in vents. Holy shit. What if she's in a vent right now and she doesn't hear these fucking sirens?
You don't know who's in the bunker.
She's like, what's the cat's fucking name?
Fucking who knows?
I was gonna say Crookshanks, but that's like Harry Potter.
How?
Snickers.
Oh my god.
Snickerdoodle.
Buttercup.
Motherfucker. Snickerdoodle.
Snickerdoodle is in the fucking room.
Dude.
And she's like, but you shouldn't have seen him. He was pacing.
Look, my thing is like, okay, you were saying like, I know everybody's gonna be like, she's a kid. And like, yeah, but like, you're grown enough where they're like training you to be a surgeon. So you can't have it both ways. Well,
which by the way is my biggest
backs my argument against Gale. So you're fucking putting yourself in a corner. Let me just tell you. Anyways, keep going.
No.
You can't have it both ways.
No.
You know why, Alejandra?
No,
She's emotionally unavailable. That's why.
She's not emotionally unavailable.
It's because
she's emotionally selfish.
Oh, but you know what? She's emotionally immature. That's why. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Perhaps. But you know what? There's a difference because Gale was someone you could count on. But she got shit together.
But she's emotionally immature. No. How does that feel, bitch? I don't agree. I do think that she's
a Gale lover over here.
I I don't hate him. I just, you know, I'm not gonna go into it because I don't want to be talking
do
about Gale for
this
3
for,
episodes.
like, 15 hours?
Yeah, but I do want to make it clear. I don't hate Gale because I know I was like, I hate him. I don't hate him. I just was very disappointed with him as a friend.
But you could be and still recognize that he's a pretty great guy.
No, he was a good like person.
Yes,
Not
that's
a
what I'm
good
saying. Okay,
guy
so that's what I'm saying.
to-
He was a good person.
Yeah.
There's no redeeming
he saved
characters.
District 12.
Correct. And
he
her
protected
entire
her
fucking family.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so like fuck that hate, okay? Because Gale fucking.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree with that.
So Prim was not good to literally anybody.
I
She
agree with
added
that.
to no one.
I agree with that.
Especially
I wholly
Katniss.
agree with that.
So my thing is, so you're looking for this stupid fucking cat. Fucking Snickerdoodle.
Oh my god, I want to talk about Snickerdoodle later too.
I hate him.
No, at the end,
Oh. All right, I take it back.
I hated.
Okay.
I was like, ugh, fucking stupid ass cat in the beginning.
It was
And
just
then in
unacceptable.
Mockingjay, oh my god, when she's like, she's not here, she starts throwing shit at Snickerdoodle.
Oh, we're gonna cry now.
And like
We're gonna do it.
Snickerdoodle's like wailing, and she starts wailing, and then like he doesn't leave her alone, and I was like, oh my god, why did you do this with the fucking cat I didn't even like?
This fucking ending was like
Shattering.
Like literally, like what, like when? Okay, hold on. Just like we have decided prior to the start of this episode that we were going to deep dive on Haymitch, Katniss, and Peeta next because Peeta has like a whole part of our heart.
Yeah.
But I just have to say the absolute fucking tears that I shed when she finds him planting the primrose.
Oh my god, bro. Es que
And at first she's about to go
just got
off on him,
goosebumps.
and I know, and he's fucking there, and he sees her. He sees her,
And he knows
does
her. So he knows she's about to snap.
And no, yes, but he does a double take because she looks like shit.
yeah, she knows it too.
Yeah.
She's like
He's
starts
like,
trying
"Oh."
to fix her hair. That's like
Sir.
matted and nasty as shit. She's
Yes.
like, "What are you doing here?"
And then we realize that she hasn't changed in months,
Can we talk about the fact that nothing got her out of that house
except
except
him.
for Peeta? That had me kicking my feet.
I
Bro,
know.
Peeta has so much riz.
It's insane.
Dude, I have so many quotes of him and I was like,
I
"Oh
know.
my
I
God,
know.
Peeta." Wait, so like, do you think Peeta and Gale were like gay for each other?
I mean, he did give him the night lock.
I'm kidding. We were talking about wild shit before this and we
Like
mentioned that one.
wild fucking, because like when you see online and you like people get into theories, but the theories are so fucking far-fetched and then you see in the comments they're like, where'd you go find this?
How did you land here?
Like, how did we fucking get here?
To be clear,
And that one is
no, I don't think that.
no.
But I did appreciate how like even though there was kind of like a rivalry between them, they didn't seem to treat each other as rivals. You know, like
No.
like Gale would talk to Katniss and be like, "Fuck Peeta." And Peeta would talk to Katniss and be like, "Your fucking little boyfriend, Gale." But to each other, there was never any animosity, which I appreciated that because it's like,
For being such young like guys.
yeah, it's kind of almost like as if
Unlike Prim.
Gale is emotionally mature.
Yeah.
That's weird. Because like
Because he is. It's
Oh,
just that Carla
right.
doesn't
He
really
is.
have a tolerance for that kind of personality.
not a single drop of tolerance.
For complex gray characters.
No, I have a lot of tolerance for gray characters
Do you?
and complex characters,
Do you?
but not that.
Okay.
So I don't want to
I'm
hop
gonna
off the
level-
Prim hate train
Okay,
though.
That's yes. I will level with you that I did hate the way Gale exited the story.
Yeah.
Because that was selfish. But prior to that, I think I stand on Gale only met himself as far as he could. And I don't think that he was ever going to mature out of that personality of like, this is right and this is wrong. And like,
No, I think he's a very black and
don't wanna
white
tell-
character,
yeah,
and
I agree.
that's fine. That makes sense to me, but I think that we're like merging it all into one thing, and I don't think it's like that. Like I think he was black and white, but like how you feel about war and how you feel about like this revolution and all this shit, is separate from how you feel about me. And I do think he like started to like her of his own volition. I don't think it had to do with the Mockingjay. I think he like started to feel something for her, and then when she got reaped, it's like when it came in full force.
Yeah.
But I think that like, which I have already said, so it's like a broken record at this point. So sorry, but I just think that like he was all she really had to herself, to be her full self without having to be a protector, like a mother figure, a this or that. Like she could just be Katniss around him and like hang out, and he was her only friend. And like, you didn't tell her how you felt, and you know Katniss is a dumbass. Like you know that it like. She's emotionally
stunted.
disconnected.
Yeah.
Like she does not understand those kind of things. You know, everybody there knows each other's business. You know, she's never had a boyfriend. So you can't expect her to pick up on hints like that. And then she leaves and comes back with all this fucking trauma. And like, you like can't put it away for just like your first meeting. Like you can't put it away for your first hangout. No. You can't bring it back later. Like, to me, I was just
He's
like,
very territorial.
no, he's selfish.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I do. I think he's very selfless with certain things, like, you know, his life, that he basically gave it to his family.
I don't think that Gale is selfish at all. I think that he is territorial, and I think he is a very one goal kind of guy. Like he was like,
right, but I think it's selfish that you can't put away your feelings for a day, for a moment, that you can't be like,
some people can't.
Right now, well, you fucking have to in this life.
I don't think so.
I do. Anyways.
We're very fucking opinionated.
I know, but
we don't turn it off sometimes.
I mean, mostly I don't. But I have.
That's what I'm saying.
But I can at times. Like, it's not easy, and it literally is like, it grinds my fucking gears to do it. It's like fucking nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah.
I hate it. But I have been able to be like,
a woman.
Bite your tongue and shut the fuck up right now. This is not the moment. Does it happen often? No. But I have been in situations.
That's what I'm saying. So like, that's what you have to be. Okay, so he's already like this. He's already who he is. And then the girl that he didn't know he loved is like, he loves. And now he's seeing her fucking falling in love on TV, and somehow she makes it back. So like, all of his emotions are on a high drive, and he's like, shit, she's fucking back, and she's mine.
No, I'm not yours. We never came to that accord.
But
but here's the thing. I have been, not through fucking Hunger Games shit, but I have been in situations where like somebody that I really care about is going through a really hard time, and like it affects me also. And in those moments, I'm not like, this is how I feel. I'm like, bro, you know what? Shut the fuck up. Like, this is, yes, like I do, my feelings are valid, and they deserve to be heard. But like right now, let's not, because this isn't the moment for that. So, I mean, all in all, I know we're never going to agree on this. And I do see your point. I don't think Gale is a piece of shit character. I think that he has a lot of virtues. I think that he was great for her family, but I cannot get past how he acted in Catching Fire. I can't get past how he has to have it his fucking way with everything. Like, yeah, he's a good, like, friend to her in that he protected her family, and that, like, he's a very good moral person, like, with, like, the people he cares about. But I can't get over how he acted towards her in Catching Fire. And then I especially can't get over how... Bro, grit your teeth and say, I'm so sorry for your loss, and then leave if you want. But at least say something.
No, because
something.
No, bullshit. Because you know what? He knows her so well.
I don't care.
That no matter what the fuck he says, she was never going to look at him that same way. So he's being respectful. He's being like, I'm going to leave the room and just leave your life, because like, there's no way you're going to ever forgive me. And like, I'm not going to be disrespectful and beg you to.
But you don't need to beg me. It's not even about, it's about Prim. Like, okay, fuck me. Fuck what, yeah, you lost me. My sister, you cared about her. It's about her. It's about her memory. It's about like, I'm devastated that Prim is dead.
But we know that.
Leave.
But we know that.
But say it, because I'm looking at
but
you
she doesn't
like it's
need
your
you
fault.
to say it.
But it doesn't matter. It's about
she didn't need it.
Doing the right thing. And the right thing in that moment.
Yeah, but she didn't need it.
It doesn't matter what she needs. It's about right and wrong in this situation. That was wrong.
I think it was right for him to know who she is and exit.
Absolutely not.
I think so.
No.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry. Like, it doesn't even have to be about.
Yeah.
It's like when you pay your respects to someone, like, even if you're not, like, very
like cool with
close to
them.
them
Yeah.
or anything, like, I don't know you like that. And, like, you know, like, I don't even know the person that passed away. But, like, the right thing to do is to give you my condolences and just keep it pushing. You know, like, we don't have to have this big conversation about it. But, like, just
but
give
the
your
thing
fucking
is,
condolences
I
and just
know.
fuck off.
But the thing is that, like, it reminds me a lot of the conversation that we discussed, which we do need to dive into in the next episode, between Haymitch and Katniss around leaving Peeta behind. And I think, like, they didn't say a lot, but they were like, you fucked up. Oh, and then you fucked up. And then that's it.
I think that's different because, okay, that was a wild card. Like, yes, he was like, I promised to get Pete out, but there was a bigger picture, which was the revolution at that point. Prim's death did not lead to anything in the revolution. It didn't ignite anything.
It did.
No, it didn't.
No, her specific death didn't.
Right.
But the bombing of that site did.
No,
she just so happened to get there.
They were already fucked. They were the capital was already
fucked.
fucked.
No, Snow goes. That was like la tapa en el topo.
Yeah, he was like,
whatever.
that was the brilliant stroke of genius. It's what made my own people turn against me. But
yes.
At that point in the war, that was not necessary because everybody was already confined to like the fucking mansion at that point. Everybody was running for it. The rebels had flooded all of the neighborhoods.
But they were still fighting back.
But it wasn't necessary.
I think it was.
No, I don't think so. Because if it had been in the beginning of the revolution and it had led to like, oh, everybody turned against him and like we didn't need to lose Finnick going into the fucking capital and we didn't need to lose fucking like Boggs and all the other people, like I don't remember all their names, those twins and like all of them. We didn't need to lose all of them because we ended up bombing like these kids and like whatever, you know, that's a fucked up situation, but it saved all of these lives. That didn't do that. That was the very last, that didn't need to happen. It really didn't. Did it help? Did it expedite the process? Yes. But would they have gotten there without that? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Perhaps.
Absolutely.
Perhaps.
I just think it's different. I don't think that Prim's death was like something that changed everything. And I think with Peeta, it wasn't even like they were sacrificing Peeta.
Yeah.
It was a betrayal for sure. But like Haymitch wasn't even fucking close to her like that. Like he was always her mentor, but if you read the books, he's an asshole to her. And 100%. He's always chasing like the better, like the greater outcome.
Yeah.
So like he's never really like, oh, Katniss, my friend, like, you know, he's a fucked up character to her. He treats her like shit. He talks to her like shit. And he takes care of her in a shitty way, but he does. So when Haymitch did that, was it fucked up? Yes. But number one, he didn't sacrifice Peeta. Number two, it was to start the revolution, to end this bullshit. So I think it was very different situations. I get where you're coming from.
But what you're forgetting, and I promise this is the last thing I will say for now.
Okay.
Because I do need to get back to Bongs because I feel like this could be another Gale.
Every time Gale comes up, we do this. I just can't help it.
But this is another very important thing. Why does Katniss say to Gale when he comes back into the mansion in Mockingjay at the end? She says, she doesn't say to him, oh, like Prim died, whatever. No, they're not talking about Prim. Mm-hmm. They're talking about the bomb that he made for the purpose of winning this war that she was always against.
Right.
She was against the bomb. It doesn't matter. Well, I understand that the end goal was that the bomb affected Prim and she fucking died. But Katniss's, the lines used for the way that she talked to him was going back to her judgment of Gale creating these bombs.
Yeah, she was like, was it your bomb or something, right?
Yeah, so it wasn't even about Prim 100%. It's about like singling him out as the person to blame for a bomb like this.
No, I think it was her being like, was it your bomb that killed my sister?
Yes, but there's different ways to say that.
Right, but I don't think that...
It goes back to her not liking him as a person.
I think she liked him as a person. I just think that...
She didn't like his
moral... His ruthlessness was
ruthless,
too much for her.
Yes. And that's what I'm saying.
But time and again, she forgives that. Like in the third book, there's so many instances where he's ruthless, and she's just like, "What the fuck's wrong with you?" And he's like, "This is what it takes," and blah blah blah. And she's like, they bicker about it, but then she's like, "Whatever," you know, like.
Yes, but again, what an odd way to say it. I think it's an odd way to say it. It would have been so, because here's the thing. He already, like, this is why I stand on this, because when he was creating this bomb, right, in District 13, he already knew that she felt some type of way about it. She didn't fucking like it. And he was like, tough luck, like, this is what we need to win this war. And she was like, but I don't like it, but that's horrible. And he's like, I don't give a fuck. And we continue. Okay, now we meet up. The whole thing happens, whatever. We meet up at the mansion when she's getting ready, and he comes in. He already knows it's the bomb.
He says, I don't know.
He doesn't. No. What I'm saying is, like, it doesn't matter whether it was his bomb or not.
Yeah, I know that.
Because her judgment of his ruthlessness is already the exit strategy for her.
No, he's like, she's like, is it yours? And he's like, I don't know. But either ways, you're never gonna, like, it's over, because you're
never gonna be able to
get past
decipher
that doubt. Exactly. So if it wasn't his bomb, that ruthlessness shit wouldn't. I mean, yeah, I do think she has a problem with his ruthlessness. Yeah. But I think if it was, like, proven that it was the capital, because before she talks to Snow, she's not like, fuck Gale.
No.
It's that conversation where she's like, wait, was it the double bomb?
Yeah.
That changes it. So if he had spoken to her before that, that outcome would have been very different. She wouldn't have been like, it was your bomb. She would have just probably been, like, emotionally distraught still because of her sister. She would have been a shell of who she was. What sparked any thoughts in her mind was the idea that bomb was not from Snow.
Yes, but then that's a pointless perspective.
But you're saying that, like, she already, like, he was never gonna win. Like, his ruthlessness was, like, too much for her. And, like, I don't think so, because before going to Snow, she had zero thoughts about Gale and his ruthlessness and how the bomb was his fault, and, like, her sister and this and that. Well, she didn't even know that Gale was alive at first, because she thought he died. Fair. So, like, I just don't think so. I get where you're coming from, and it's not. No, I might be wrong.
Where you're coming from, but
I don't know. I'm not the author, and the thing is, we saw this all through Katniss's.
Can you come join us?
Seriously. We'll pour you a nice cup of wine, please.
Red or white?
Yeah, and then you can read me to filth. I don't care. Just answer my questions.
I'm pretty sure Suzanne is on my side.
I don't know. I think it's complex. I don't think that I'm going to be super honest. I think that she intentionally left a lot of things open for interpretation, where it's like, I don't think she wanted to give a solid answer, because, like, there are authors like Sarah J. Maas and, like, Rebecca Yarros and J.K. Rowling that, like, will tell you things about the characters that are not in the books. Like, they'll be like, oh, because, like, fucking Violet, she talks about Violet all the time and where she's at with her signet, and Xaden and how his perspective is, like, oh yeah, like, they give you insight into the characters. And Suzanne Collins has very intentionally not done that. She writes the book and then she's like, here you go, bye. Like, she doesn't give you extra stuff. Like, Dumbledore is gay, and we know that because J.K. Rowling said it, not because it's in the books.
What the fuck?
Oh, you didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, he's gay, but she didn't put it in the books. She released it, like, as information after the books were, like, all done. Which, Dumbledore's a villain, but, like, that is a whole different conversation. I have problems with Dumbledore. Anyways, I don't want to go into that, but
no, we'll be
I think Suzanne very intentionally left this open for interpretation. So I don't think that I'm right here. I don't think you're right. I think there's just this space of, like, maybe it's both.
I think we're doing our job. We're just interpreting.
Yeah. And the good thing is that we both have conflicting opinions most of the time. Yeah. So you get, like, if you are watching right now and you're like, no, Carla, shut the fuck up. Like, Alejandra's right. You get to, like, hear your voice.
And tell me.
comment and tell her that she's fucking wrong. Or if you're
I'm not.
Or if you're like, actually, Alejandra, fuck you. Gale's a piece of shit. You get that voice out of me. So the good thing is, like, this is not like, I think the only character that we can agree that we both have problems with is Katniss's mom and Prim.
Yes.
So let's go back to Prim.
Okay. So so I left off with Snickerdoodle. And
I love that, dude. Okay, Snickerdoodle.
and I'm like, I know that you didn't get bombed twice. Okay?
Twice, bro.
Twice.
That's
and
insane.
You're fucking looking for this cat. You don't know where your mom is. Well, there's a point where the mom goes like, oh, I was heading down to the bunker and she knew that. So let's assume that Prim knew that her mom was on her way down. You didn't know where your fucking sister was. How did
that
you not?
In this, like, dude, the way they show or describe like everybody going down the stairs, it's chaos. People are freaking the fuck out. People are running. In that chaos, how selfish of a fucking child are you that you're like, bye mom, fuck off, go by yourself.
Yep.
Like,
and that's why I'm saying that the hate for Prim is warranted.
I agree.
Because
wholly.
At first, when we first started this episode, you saw me go like this poor little girl, 13 to 16, right? Ish, whatever. Bullshit.
I think 16 is a stretch. I think she's like 13 to 14.
I'd say 14, 15. Okay, 14. Let's say 14.
I mean, let's say the Hunger Games are every year, right? So you know that if she was 12 in the first book, she's got to be 13 in the second one because the quarter quell is a year later. And then I would say the quarter quell got interrupted and they go to District 13. So like 13 to 14, in my opinion. But it's open for interpretation. It's not clearly written. There's no timeline. They don't tell you how many months are spent. But the point is, there's not really a big difference between 14 and 15.
That's what I'm saying. 13, 15, same shit. Mm-hmm. And so if that were to look at that perspective, right, here's the thing. That sounds like a kid. But then you're studying to be a doctor. Exactly. Given that she's training to be a doctor, given that she's living in this fucking world where she gets bombed twice. Okay? Fuck, man. Fuck. Which, like, foreshadowing, huh? But anyways.
Dude.
Yeah.
Wait. Finish that thought. I want to come back to that.
Okay. So you're basically giving this girl a lot of fucking responsibility. And you still be looking for Snickerdoodle. And you still be looking for let's assume that she did know her mom was on her way down. You don't know where Katniss was. You didn't give a fuck. You went to go look for a fucking cat instead of being like, yo, where's my sister?
And that's crazy to me.
Insane.
Because
and then
first book Katniss, I understand that Prim is like, well, Katniss is just like, she's good. She's about her shit. Like, she's on the ball. Ella está espabilada.
What choice does she have?
In the first book.
Yeah.
There's no way that you see your fucking sister come back and have nightmares every single night. And you see that this bitch has problems in the second book. And you're like, same girl. But hold on. Let's take it a beat further. There's no way that you see her come back again after watching her kill people again.
Yeah.
And now you see her in the air vents, hyperventilating, tying knots in the fucking hospital perpetually. And you're like, yeah, my sister's on the ball. She's on point. She's got it. No. This is the point where you would be like, okay.
Yep.
Well, fuck. You need help.
Do something, right?
And the thing is, like,
you're a doctor, though.
You grow up when you have to.
You're a doctor, though.
When your family is going through certain things, I've seen it over and over again in so many different cases, and I've experienced to a degree like having to grow up quickly.
Yeah.
And so have you.
Yeah.
In different ways, right? But like when you're in a family dynamic where you see things, even if you're a kid, you realize like, okay, well, I can't continue to be una come mierda anymore. I gotta like be a little more present, or like just be more about this or be more about that. And it's like, and on top of that, you live in this fucking world that has forced you to grow the fuck up and bitch, if you're making cheese with your goat, I don't know how to fucking make cheese. And I'm older than 14. So like, no, I'm not going to say how old.
Karna's just older.
Shut your mouth. Don't give a fucking year, bitch. Anyways, you know, like, I'm older than 14 and I don't know how to fucking make cheese. And this girl, like, you know how to make cheese. You know how to fucking, like, when Gale gets whipped, you know, like how to like assist your mom in that shit.
Yep.
Like,
And you're tough about it. Like
yeah,
you're like, I'm
like,
gonna engage.
you
like
have
I'm
the
gonna
capacity
live.
to
Correct.
step up.
Correct.
But you
Don't
in
give
District
a fuck.
13 can't step up for your sister
Nothing.
at all.
I don't even think she ever even went to the hospital.
No, she did. She did.
I think her mom did.
No, she did. She went to the hospital.
Hmm.
But like, I can count maybe 1 or 2 times that she was there.
That's what I'm saying.
Out of the fucking extended stay that this bitch had in the hospital. So to me, it's like,
the other thing. This is what bothers me. Then I'm gonna a couple things that I just need to get off my chest. Then in the fucking bunker, I think the intention was like, a little Prim there for Katniss. Bullshit. You have literally known that this girl came back from the games and screams in her sleep. And you've never given a fuck, not in the cushion you house that she gave you, and not in District 13 where you're living in the same quarters.
In the fucking mansion that we have, 'cause of me, bitch.
There you go. There you go. So there's no fucking give a fuck, not with her mom, which whatever. We already know we fucking hate that bitch. But with this girl listen to me. I've been 14, 15. I remember giving a fuck if someone is crying and screaming out.
Yeah.
And so then that continues, right? Stupid bunker. And I think that was meant to be like, oh, look, sisterhood. Bullshit. Fucking, I hated that. And then she says, you should wake me up more often so that I can help you with your problems.
Hear me. I know you fucking hear me. Don't play. Don't play.
Be so fucking for real. I don't need to wake you up to tell you that I'm struggling when you know I'm fucking crawling into air vents.
Right.
Get the fuck out of here. All right, whatever. Anyways, let's move on to the next part that I fucking hate about her. Then there's a point where Katniss starts to be like, all right, I'm going to get my shit together with Johanna. And they start training to be part of the mission. Love that part. All right, tell me why we don't hear anything from Mom and Prim about the fact that she's getting trained to fucking go to war.
Crazy. Listen, and I just have so many issues. This is a part where I feel like, what are you doing to the mom? Because it's like, bro, tell me you don't give a fuck without telling me you don't give a fuck.
Correct.
Dude, I'm still your child.
Exactly.
And like, yes, she stepped up for years, but you guys are in a completely different environment now. Katniss is no longer the provider. Katniss is, as we've said, 25,000 fucking times in a vent, hyperventilating with a fucking piece of rope that she's tying into knots over and over and over again.
Exactly.
Like,
I know.
She's not the old Katniss, duh! So like,
I know, but and that's the fucking thing. And then I think they trained for what, like 2 weeks.
So as her mother, you're not like, hey, my child,
I rather you didn't go to war.
Let me tell you something. If I was Katniss's mother, there is not a fucking president, a fucking rebellion leader, a motherfucking anybody that could convince me that she was going. Like if they were like, she's the Mockingjay, I'd be like, and I'm the mother of the Mockingjay. And she's underaged. And the answer is no. And if they were like, get the fuck out, I'd be like, bye. Katniss, get your fucking bow and arrow because you need to fucking hunt for us. But we're out of this bitch because you are not going back in this shit.
But you know what you sound like?
A mother.
A mother.
Which she is
not.
Dude, and then, so dude, you just said something that I wanted to pounce on, but I was like, let me finish her statement.
Okay, go ahead.
It had to do with Prim. I can't remember. Keep going.
The foreshadowing?
No, it was after that. I remember that.
Okay. So anyways, that part really just fucking got to me because she fucking gets in the airplane and nobody comes to say bye.
I didn't even think about that.
Okay. Well, fuck, man. I didn't either. And so I realized how much I hated.
They're so disgusting, man. God. Such a shitty fucking family.
And then that's the other thing. You know that your daughter has randomly started training for war for 2 weeks to hit whatever. No sé qué. No conversation. No like, hey, like, you know, are you okay? Or like, I know this is, even if she wants to write out the like, you know, you can make this decision. You can, whatever. Nothing.
Do you think, I remember what I wanted to say. Do you think, remember how you were like in the bunker? Like, I get that the purpose of that was to be like sisterhood. Do you think that maybe the reason that Suzanne planted that seed, because in that scene is where Katniss is like, oh, my little duck, like you're not a little girl anymore. You don't think that maybe Suzanne was trying to plant the seed of like, girl,
Yep.
she's not a baby?
Yep.
Because that's brilliant.
1,000%. But you know what it is that, like, we've read this shit for so many years.
And
finally fucking clicks.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
100%. 100%. Listen, authors don't do anything by mistake. They have fucking written this 3,000 times, edited a million times.
I think Rebecca Yarros does some things by mistake.
I knew she was going to say that.
I'm just saying.
I knew she was
And by the
gonna
way,
say that.
I would do everything by mistake if I was a fucking author.
No, but listen, stuff like that, the way that was written was beautifully written.
Yeah.
Because it didn't pop out at me till like years later. And when I reread this and I started feeling like some type of way about Prim, and then I read that part and I'm like, oh, you're trying to let us know this shit ain't little anymore. This little girl ain't little anymore. You're letting us know like, hey, how come you're not this child anymore and you still don't give a fuck about your sister?
So, okay, here's something I wanted to talk about. You mentioned how like the bombs, right? Bomb twice, foreshadowing. Okay, this might be a little controversial, or maybe not. But this read around was like, I feel like Prim was destined to die. And I feel like Katniss was destined to be in the games. Why?
Like Final Destination?
No, like I feel like they couldn't escape that. Like, okay, Prim gets reaped, right? And she would not have survived. 100%. She would not have survived the Hunger Games. No. But she does because her sister steps up, right?
Right.
Second book, irrelevant, helping her mom, who cares, right? Third book.
Get bombs, though. They get bombed in District 12 and Gale gets
Third book, right, and they survive the bombs. Third book, they get bombed again, survive. And then at the end, what happens? Prim doesn't survive.
Right.
So I feel like that everything that Katniss did was for her sister to survive. And at the end of the day, her destiny was not to survive. And it happened. And Katniss, I feel like her destiny was to be in the games. Yeah. In the first book, in the games. In the second book, in the games. In the third book, in another game. Like, now she's in the game between the Capitol. And, like, she's used it as a pawn. The whole time, she's a fucking pawn in everything.
100%.
And I don't know if that was intentional or not. But when I was reading it this go around, I was like, man, like, she just can't escape being in the games. No. And then Prim, for as much as your sister has tried, and Gale has tried, and everybody has tried to keep you alive, they can't.
No.
So I don't know if that was a thing, but that was my observation. And I was like, I kind of feel like the destiny for Katniss and for Prim was like, Prim was not going to survive. And Katniss, no matter how much she tried to run away from this, was destined to be in the games and stay in the games.
You know what? I do like
in the first book.
Because
she or Peeta should have not come out of it. One of them. And they both did. And she's like, yes, we both survived. And then the second one, they're like, nope, back in the games. And then like, oh, yay, they got us out. And then it's like, nope, you're in another game now with the Capitol. So I just feel like with her, like, no matter how hard she tries to get out of the games, she can't. And even in the fucking like epilogue, she's telling her baby, she's like, oh, every time that I'm like having an episode or whatever, I make a list of all the good things that I've seen people do. And she's like, it's a tedious game, but there are worse games to play. So in a way, even in the aftermath, she's still in some sort of game. Yeah. And I don't know if that's like me reading into it too much.
No, I actually didn't think about it that way, but I actually do agree with you. And I actually really like that because I feel like it also gives Katniss so much more depth. I mean, she's already a deep character, but what I'm saying is like she's bringing you through an absolute turmoil of a life, and she keeps winning, losing, and then she keeps winning as well because like she is able to keep her sister alive for the majority of 3 books. Right, maybe not directly, but at the end it shows kind of like the hero of the story still like doing everything that she could and thinking she got away with it, and then fuck. I really do think that's true because it even gives like the reader like the ultimate feeling of empathy of like, bro, this girl so tried so freaking hard.
And if you look at it through different scopes, it's kind of like what was meant to happen in the first book ended up happening. Like,
Yeah.
Gale thought he was going to lose Katniss. She survived. But in the end, he lost her anyways. Peeta was supposed to, if it was between Katniss and Peeta, who's going to survive?
Yeah.
Right? He was supposed to not survive. He was no longer Peeta after what happened to him. And it took a lot of like, you know, for him to come back. But still, like, he ended up like mentally going away.
Yep.
So it's like every character still gets like, that's my girl.
Always.
Every character ends up in the place where you would have imagined in the first book.
Yeah. That's kind of crazy. I like that.
Yeah.
It's sad.
It is. It's depressing.
Yeah,
it makes me
but
want to cry, but it's beautiful.
It's very good writing.
Yeah, it's excellent.
Excellent.
It's excellent.
It's
I
honestly
love Suzanne
amazing.
Collins.
Amazing. So you're right. I think that there is no way that they were going to. Damn, I didn't even think about Gale. That's so true.
And like, Katniss's mom, how does she start the book without her daughter, Katniss, and losing Prim? What happens in the end?
She still
She loses both of them, basically.
Yeah.
Like, her and
Not
Katniss
that she
have a
gives a
faraway
fuck.
relationship, but that's exactly how it was in the beginning.
Yeah, not that she
With-
gives a fuck.
But, like, think about it. In the first book, her and Katniss have a very distant relationship. And in the last book, how does it end? She's in capital, I don't know what. I mean,
District 4.
District 4, and Katniss is in District 12. Far away. And they have a relationship because Katniss says, like, she spoke to her mom on the phone and they cried together.
I can't even engage
But it's a distant... Do you get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
everybody ends up how...
Where they were.
Right.
But you know what's interesting is that you're right, because they show you who these characters are from the very beginning. And no matter how hard they, I wouldn't even say try, but like all the shit they go through, they still end up being the same fucking people.
How does Haymitch end? The same way he started. Drunk to cope with everything and like angry and like...
Barely around.
Right. And even now that he has people that care about him, like he comes around and he leaves and he's like here and there kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's very full circle in a very
For sure.
tragic and beautiful way.
Yeah.
So do you have any other thoughts on Prim? I mean, I think we could talk about Prim forever, but is there any like big things?
But I think that the only other thing that I remember thinking about Prim was, okay, there is a part where after the bunker, the whole point is Katniss says like, oh, you're not a little duck anymore, right? I think that this was also a very important part in the book to show you the off switch for Katniss in a way. Hang out with me for a second.
I'm hearing.
The off switch of like, yes, she always cared about Prim and that was her main goal. But then she was kind of like exiting her family dynamic and only wanted Peeta back and to kill Snow.
Okay,
Do you want more wine?
Yeah.
Okay. So the part where like, I think she turns, okay. I wouldn't say she turns off the care of her sister Prim, but I think it's really hard because
I have thoughts on this.
I'm grasping at straws, okay?
I have thoughts on this.
Okay. I think that subconsciously Katniss realizes that her family does not give a fuck enough. Like she cares about them.
I'll tell you what I think.
Okay. But I do think subconsciously she's trying to kill Snow, and that becomes the issue 100% because she doesn't plan on surviving that.
I agree with that. She doesn't plan on surviving that.
And even if she were to, her heart is broken over Peeta. She doesn't realize it. But I do think that at one point in the third book, I would say second into third and then third, she realizes that she doesn't realize it, but we as a reader, I sense the like wanting to save Peeta and wanting to die in one way or the other, just getting rid of Snow and letting go of her responsibility of Prim.
Okay, I think that it's not that in the third book she doesn't give a shit about Prim anymore.
No.
No. Like, hear me out. Here's what I think. Okay. I think at the end of the second book, she's fallen in love with Peeta.
Okay.
I don't think she can recognize it, but I think that, like, she
for sure
realizes how important he is to her. And the reason I know this is because...
Nightmares on the train, cuddling, bro.
Stop.
What do you mean he held her? What do you mean?
And when she's like, you should wake me up when you're having nightmares. And he's like, it's okay because my nightmares are that you're gone. And when I wake up and you're there, I'm okay. And I'm like, oh my God, Peeta. Like, write a better man.
Literally.
Write a better man.
What do you mean? Literally, what do you mean? And
pulled up on Kato too. Like, I don't care that you're fucking career, bitch. Bring it. Don't touch my woman.
He has so much riz. Okay, but we can't talk
Okay,
about
anyways,
Peeta.
no, we can't get into that. But
have you seen that TikTok that goes like, wait, I need to hold it in? No. Okay, I have to show it just because then it'll be awkward and you're gonna have to cut this out maybe anyways. But it goes like this.
When are you gonna fucking watch the Epics musical, bitch?
I have to.
You're pissing me off.
I know, but I will. Look.
No, I can't laugh yet.
I haven't seen
What I
that.
think about. Like, I'm like, wait, I can't ruin it yet. I must talk about it later.
No, we can't. We can't talk about Peeta today. But okay, so I think in the second book, she falls in love with Peeta, and I don't think she realizes it. I think she subconsciously realizes in that book what he means to her in every way.
Yeah.
And that she needs him, not needs him in like, oh, I can't live without him kind of way, but like her heart needs him kind of thing. Like where she's like, you are the other piece of me kind of thing. And
because she doesn't even know like how it fits romantically. She doesn't know that yet. She just
doesn't
knows like
understand
he's
that.
hers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, okay, that just
Okay,
made me squeal.
right.
Okay,
Just-
and
just
then,
continue.
dude, all throughout everything, she's always like, Prim. The first book, Prim. I need to survive. Prim, I'm trying to survive because I promised my sister I would, right? Second book, she's like, yeah, I'll try to survive. Like, I don't care. Fuck you, Prim. Like, she's like, yeah, I'm going to try to survive. I'm going to go die in this shit. Like, she's like, fuck my sister.
There's no way I'm
She's like, my sister will be
this.
fine. She'll survive. But I don't care. And then, like, she's like, I got to keep Pete alive. I got to keep him alive. Then she blows this whole bitch up. And they, like, forklift her out. And she's like, I'm going to the Capitol. And in the second book, when she hears those birds being like, Katniss, the Mockingjays. And she thinks it's her sister. She's like, oh, they tortured my sister. So she has her sister in her mind still, right? She's not
like,
completely
where did they
erased.
get this audio from? Yep.
But when she thinks that the Capitol took her, she's not like, oh, they're going to get my sister because of the shit I did. Oh, my family. Oh, this. She's like, Peeta. And then Haymitch is like, oh, we're heading to District 13, And she's not like, District 13, my family, my sister, Prim. What's the Capitol going to do to Prim after the shit that I just... She's like, Peeta. The whole time.
She doesn't know where her fucking family is. She doesn't give a fuck.
She doesn't care because she's consumed with her love for Peeta, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Then, they tell her, oh, District 12 is it's not a thing anymore. I got your sister, I got your mama. And she's like, oh, yeah, I have a family. And then in District 13. Yes. And then in District 13, I think that what happens for her is that, like, Katniss doesn't need to take care of anyone anymore. They're being taken care of by the system. So I think her need to protect Prim, it goes away. Like, her drive that she's had in the first book and like in all her whole life, it's gone because she doesn't need to do that anymore. Mm-hmm. She doesn't need to provide. She doesn't need to hunt.
Prim is a doctor.
She doesn't need to protect her sister. She doesn't need to be like, no, don't worry, you're not going to get reaped. Like, because that doesn't exist anymore. So now in this space where, like, it's not that I think she doesn't give a shit about her family or that she realizes that they don't give a shit about her. And I think they do care about her. But I think that it's the same way that you, like, argue for Gale, that it's like, oh, well, that's how he loves. I think they love her in their own selfish ways, right? Because they're very selfish. Prim and her mother are very selfish in my opinion. Because I don't see how you could well, whatever. Let me not. But I
I'm here
think
for it.
I think in the third book, she doesn't know who she is anymore.
No.
She's lost.
I never did, though.
No, but she had a purpose.
Yeah.
And that purpose is gone. So now, no, she doesn't think about Prim. No, she doesn't think about her mom because there's no point. Like, all she ever thought about them for was to protect them and to take care of them. And that's not her purpose anymore. She doesn't need to do that anymore.
Yeah.
So, yeah, in my opinion, it's not that she realizes that they don't care about her. It's that she's like, this is not important anymore. Like, I don't have, like, whatever. They're not top of mind anymore because they're fine. They're safe, and that's all that matters. So now Katniss can focus on Katniss. And now that Katniss is focusing on Katniss, all she cares about is Peeta surviving. Or when Gale is hurting, making Gale feel better, which is her, like, most core quality, is that through and through, Katniss is selfless, and she's a giver, and she's a protector.
Yeah.
All she cares more about, take some notes, Gale, about the person she cares about being safe and healthy and happy. Because when Gale displays...
Gale just acts and protects, but go ahead.
Like a bitch. And when Gale is crying and complaining, she's like, let me kiss him. You know, like, she tries to make him feel better. I'm not trying to go into Gale. I'm just saying, like, Katniss is... Bitch, you and I will fucking start, like, squaring up if we talk about Gale again. No, but I just...
We're getting to that board.
No, we're getting to... I had that! Like, fuck! You know what's funny is that you're not even, like... You love Peeta, so it's like, I don't even know why we're arguing about this.
This is fucking hilarious because listen to me very carefully. I fucking love
I know
Peeta.
this.
Okay.
That's why when you're, like, writing for Gale, I'm like, bitch, no te equivoques.
You want to know why? Because there's no competition.
Well,
I see Gale as like a flawed character, and I love him in
but
the
I don't
sense
think it's
that
a
like
competition. Where I'm coming from is
no. But what I mean is
lane.
like, okay, so I'm just thinking romantically then, because I love Peeta. Like there is nothing negative about Peeta. Nothing.
I agree.
Zero. Like I can't think of nothing.
Me neither. And if you think of one, keep it to yourself. I don't want to hear it.
Agreed. Agreed. So because of that, because I know Peeta's like the golden standard, I can look at Gale and be like, you know,
No.
okay. Well, I can. I don't hate Gale. I feel like I see his purpose.
hate him.
I see. But anyways, please
Yeah,
let's
no
not
purpose.
continue.
Okay. Anyways, so I think that I really could keep talking about Prim and her mom.
Yeah.
But I think that what pretty much sums up my problem with Prim is just like, you're old
didn't care.
enough
Yeah.
to know what's going on and to
Yeah.
give a fuck.
Yep.
And to be present for your sister.
Yep.
And beyond that, even if it wasn't about age, mentally, you are in such a fucked up environment where I know that you're older than your actual age. So any angle you want to argue it at, and I know that you guys are probably not going to like this because Prim is not talked about like this. I don't give a shit. Like, I'm sorry, but you cannot convince me that Prim did her due diligence as a fucking sister.
No.
I don't care that you're the younger one.
No, she was useless.
It's just like, dude, you got me in this whole shit, and now, like, mírate que rica estás viviendo. Look how comfortable you are in the fucking...
Spanish.
Yeah, because I was going to start ripping in. I was rolling my
I
R's
was
and
like,
everything. I'm like,
aquí
mira que
estoy.
rico.
Mira.
Listen, I'm just saying, like, I gave
Mira
you
cómo
everything.
terminaste.
Literally, you're in your
I
place
know.
alive because of
Fuck
me,
yeah.
and you
not
can't...
not only are you alive,
Bro, and I'm not
you
even
are
saying
fucking
drop out of being a
thriving.
doctor, but like,
You're
bro,
fucking thriving.
can you tell them fuck you for 5 minutes? You're my sister. Go up to Coin and be like, I need to be there for my sister more. You want a Mockingjay that's functional? I need to be more present for her. So give me leeway with my school.
Yep.
Nope.
Yep.
None of that shit.
Nothing.
I don't hate her,
So-
but I'm very disappointed with her as a character. I really don't like her, and I hate the mom now.
I hate her character.
Do you hate her more than the mom?
No, because I think our mom enabled her.
But okay, so who are you more disappointed by, the mom or her?
I'm disappointed by Prim, and I hate the mom.
But you're not disappointed with the mom?
No, because I hate her.
Okay. Good enough for me.
No, because here's the thing. I'm not disappointed in the mom because it's gone past disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
With Prim, it's disappointing, but she's still like, she is a kid. Like technically, whatever. And she's not a mom.
Right.
I feel like once you become a mom and you still acting a fool, That's insane to me.
Yeah, the thing is, my mom would like throw anybody in front of a bus for me.
Yep.
She would drive a train straight through the
Yep, I have
entire
zero
like
doubt. I have
Washington D.C. Capitol for
zero
me.
fucking
My
doubt.
mom would start a war for me.
Yep.
So it's hard for
As
me to
moms
see.
should.
Yeah, it's hard for me to see
Yeah.
this bitch and be
I
like,
know,
dude,
exactly.
I can understand that I can't understand her in the first book, and I'll give her grace for that.
No. But I respect it.
But in the second one and in the third, nope, because there's nothing wrong with you now. You're past your grieving. You're past all that bullshit. So I
Yep.
don't understand.
I hated
any of
her
this
from
now.
the very beginning, and I didn't know. The second that she was relieved that Katniss was going in and not Prim was like, fuck you.
You know,
Fuck
I
you.
think she's pretty simple-minded.
I mean, yeah. No, she's a doctor.
She's not a doctor.
She's
she
a
plays
healer.
with herbs. Okay, and anybody. I mean, not anybody, but like, it's not like she's playing
She
with a
fucking
scalpel. And,
saved people.
yes, but like, being good at like, oh, these plants work for this. Being able to do that.
Yes, but no, it's bedside manner. It's empathy. That's what she had. She had empathy and she had bedside manner.
She didn't. Because if you remember, when Gale comes in and he's like
Está
destroyed,
destruido.
she's like, get him some ice, get this, get that. And Katniss is like, give him some fucking medicine. And she's like, no. And this is somebody that's provided for her. You don't remember that?
But why didn't she give him medicine? There was a
Well,
reason
she was
for
like, no, because Katniss was like, she saves that shit for like really, really like, there wasn't a lot of stuff back then.
Yeah.
Or in that situation.
Yeah.
She had very limited supply, so she saved it more for like when somebody was on their deathbed. And he was not. He was just in really excruciating pain. And so Katniss was like, fucking give him that shit.
Yeah.
And this is somebody that if it were not for Gale, she would be dead.
Yeah.
And she still was like, no, give him some tea. So I don't think she has sympathy like that. And I don't think she has bedside manners like that.
I think she does.
No.
I love when you're like, no.
Why? Because I'm like, you're not changing my mind.
No, you're wrong.
You are.
But, okay. So anyways, I think that's overall, I think we just really hate them. And I think that we've made a really good.
I think this is a good argument.
Yeah, I think
Even
we made
if
a
you're
really good
for
argument.
them, I can't see
Even
you
if you're
listening
with
to this
no,
and not
and being like,
getting some like doubts.
yeah, agreed. I think we made a really great argument that I actually have never seen before.
Yeah.
Fuck.
That's
Anyways.
why. That's
All
why
right.
we're here.
So,
Okay, so can we talk about Finnick?
yes.
Oh my god. I don't think anybody's death destroyed me like his did. And even rereading it this time around, I was crying. And oh my god, I saw something. I'm like literally fucking spiraling right now.
Oh no.
I saw something online that it was like Finnick spent his entire like from him winning the Hunger Games to the Quarter Quell being touched by people that he didn't want to be touched by, and he died being touched by fucking things. And I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I love Finnick so much, so much. Oh my god, I want a book just for Finnick. I know. I was like, please take Johanna, and I love Johanna, but I'm like, just not Finnick. Anyone but Finnick and Peeta and Katniss. Take Gale. No, but honestly, that death destroyed me.
That was terrible. Like in the most heartbreaking way. And I think that they did such a great, oh my God, is that they did such a great, she did such a great job in like, this is a playboy. And then you get the real like depth of him.
I'm about to hit you with something.
Oh.
No, not like a bad one.
Okay.
So like, we like achievement, right?
Fuck yeah.
When Finnick was like, let me give you the tea. You know. Drop the fucking bombs. You know, you and I would be like, watching that shit. I was like, bro, you were made for me to love you.
He sat there and he was like, I'm going to give you
let me
something.
give it to you. Who do you want to know about? Because I have a registry of people.
my God.
How fucking delicious
That
was
was
that?
insane.
Amazing.
Insane.
I wish I would have known the people he was talking about, so I could have been like, with everybody else.
I know,
and
I know,
even Plutarch and Chimoso was like,
Bro.
come here real quick, because they say that like when he's done, Plutarch pulls Finnick aside and he's like, so like,
Tell me
something.
more. Yes. 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 That was fucking amazing.
I also love that his weapon is a trident. I think that's so cool.
I know.
I love that.
I just that he gave everything. That's the thing. He was, you know, attractive. He was powerful. He was strong. He was charismatic, which you know
Yep.
Katniss never was. He was
knew how to play the game.
charismatic. He knew how to play the game. And turns out he was like a sweetheart.
Yeah. I love how he fucks with her too, where he's like, he like starts flirting
Sugar
with her
cube?
or whatever. Yeah,
Do you want a
yeah,
sugar
cube? She's like,
What?
no. Like Peeta starts laughing and he's like, he's just fucking with you. And then Katniss is like, you think that's funny? Which by the way gives girlfriend vibes.
I know. And Peeta's like this like little innocent. Like it was kind of it was
No,
hot. It was hot.
I love how Peeta like low-key fucks with her too. Like when Johanna gets naked and
Naked
then gets
in
in the
the
elevator, and then like Katniss is like, I just fucking know Peeta is smiling, and she looks at him and he's like, and then like Johanna leaves and she's like, really? And he starts laughing and she's like, you think that's funny?
Fucking amazing.
I love that shit.
I know. Okay, we're getting into Peeta.
I
Hold
know.
on.
Okay, no.
Okay.
It always comes back to him.
Alright,
But
so-
yeah, I fucking love Finnick.
Okay.
I loved his weapon. I loved how
Yes.
he was charismatic. You know what I also loved was it in Catching Fire, how well he read Katniss. Because she goes up the tree, right? When after the initial bloodbath,
Yes.
they're looking for water and she's like, let me climb up the tree. And I think it was to like see the arena. And she goes all the way up there and she sees him and she's like, I'm gonna have to kill this motherfucker. Yeah. And she's like, I should kill him now. So she goes down there and Finnick is like, hey, what'd you do? You saw everybody? And he's like, are you getting an idea? Are you getting any ideas? Like he just fucking reads her so well. And then at some point, like, somebody dies or something. I think they put the picture on the sky or whatever, and Finnick starts laughing and she's like, you think that's funny? And he's like, I think every time I hear that cannonball, it's amazing because it means I'm not dead. So he's like, I'll bring it to you right back, bitch. I don't care.
Yeah, I like that he was never like, what's that word called? Like sugarcoating for her. Mm-hmm. And he was always fucking with her.
Yeah, I loved that. I thought it was so funny. And he riled her up pretty well in the beginning.
He did. He was like making her nervous and
Yeah.
shit.
And then I
And
loved
like, you know, like he never was interested.
No.
Right? Like he was in love with
Annie.
stuff. I can't even with that.
And then I loved how in the last book.
Okay, hold on. Theory.
Okay.
Ready? Coming in hot. Annie is supposed to be a victor after him, right?
Oh, I don't know.
I think so. Yeah. Okay, so let me just double check. Oh. Okay, so no. Okay, this makes even more sense. So we say that Finnick won the 65th Hunger Games. Annie won the 70th.
Okay, so after him?
Okay, so after him. Mm-hmm. So we know that Annie is like, ooh, loca.
Don't blame her.
No, at all. But I saw this amazing theory online that because he won and he was used for his body, he made her pretend like she was insane.
Oh.
To not get like any special treatment in
That's
the Capitol.
actually great because I mean it tracks.
Yeah, because at the end of the books, Annie's kind of like has a whole baby and she's in charge of a whole baby.
Well, but Katniss says in the last book, she's like, Annie's not crazy, she's just weird.
Yep.
And like, you know what?
Yep.
Maybe. I want a book on Finnick. I love him so much.
I know.
He was such a good character. His death really, honestly, like I know that when you're writing,
it was
I know.
it was
and you know what
fucking
bothers
awful.
me too is that it was pointless because her whole goal with that shit was to kill Snow. Didn't do it then.
I know.
It was a pointless death, and that destroyed me because it's also like Finnick was just such a good character in every way, and I know that good characters need to die, like Luke in Fourth Wing. Like that death sucked. Liam, not Luke.
I was about.
You were like, yeah, who the fuck is that?
I'm like,
Liam, sorry. You were
literally
like, yeah,
looked
let me
over
just Google it real quick.
looked over to my wine. Like, how much have I drank? Who the fuck
Liam,
is?
sorry. Liam, like, I loved him. I didn't want him to die. But I just feel like some deaths, it's like, but why Finnick? Like, I like other characters.
I know.
Boggs was already a sucky death. Like, I didn't like that.
Boggs, when he gave her the fucking, when he gave command.
Why did he do that?
Why? Because he knew that the rest of the fucking team would never put Katniss first.
Well, he told her he was like, don't trust
fucking
anyone.
Anybody. Don't
But,
trust
like,
anybody.
Okay, yeah. You know what? Yeah, makes sense.
Because everybody else
Mm-hmm.
would have gotten coin,
Yeah.
kill the bitch, and they would have done it.
Yeah. Okay, yes. Yeah, that makes sense.
So, anyways, back to Finnick because I know Boggs. Oh
my God, it just devastated me. I felt like
so fucking difficult for me.
it was a death that I'm like,
I will never recover.
I don't accept it. Like, I don't think this one was necessary.
No. You know what? I agree with you. I feel like it did its job in breaking the heart of the reader. But when you look back, you're like, it didn't need to happen.
I agree. Like,
I feel like you can make an argument about everybody. Like, even if we take a sideway to, like, Fourth Wing. Liam hurt. Rhiannon wouldn't have
but
hurt.
okay, look, let me paint it in this way. If Haymitch died, I would have been devastated. But I would have been like,
you lived your life.
you lived a life. You were
that.
miserable anyways. He, like, just got married and she was pregnant. And it makes sense because shit like that happens in war and it's sad.
They gave them a wedding.
I have goosebumps right now. It makes sense. It's a death that makes sense. But I was just like, but why did you have to do that?
I have no words.
Like, in the last Harry Potter book, Hedwig is the first death, and it signifies the death of Harry's innocence. And I was hysterical when I read that. And he's a fucking bird. But I was like, okay, makes sense. Fred dies. And Fred is George's twin. And, like, that destroyed me also.
That is
but insane. I was like,
I know.
I don't like this death. I'm never going to justify it, but, like, okay. Tonks and fucking Lupin die, and they leave Teddy, the baby, as, like, an orphan. All of these deaths were sad, but like if Neville had died, I would have been like, "Are you fucking kidding me, man?" Like,
tell me about Throne of Glass,
bitch. Don't talk to me about that shit.
The whole fucking 13.
Not even one. Not even one, dude.
You don't understand.
I have goosebumps. Oh my God.
The amount. Listen to me.
You know who should have died?
I think I read
Nesta.
Am
I gonna get canceled?
I hope not, because I'm fucking down. Yeah, we. Oh shit, are we agreeing again?
Yeah, we're gonna have two red mics.
Yeah. Oh,
I have a lot to say about Nesta.
Anyways.
Sidebar that.
But just one other thing.
Okay.
Fucking all 13 die.
Dude, that was so fucked up.
Listen to me. I think I read that book and I remember staying up in my living room for like the longest fucking time finishing this book. And I remember being like, whatever, I'm just going to go back to bed. And I get in bed with my husband and I'm like reading this fucking end and I'm like, whimpering and like fucking crying in the middle of the night. And he's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, they died. They fucking died. And he's like, okay. So anyways, fucking horrible. But anyways, yes. Going back to Finnick.
Wait, when Manon goes to the spot that doesn't grow any grass and weeps, and then how she is visibly different, like her personality has visibly tanked.
Yep.
For the rest of the book.
Yep.
Okay, anyways, sorry.
Oh man.
You do not
That's
yield
going to be a
Fireheart.
hard. Oh my God.
My name is Selena Sardothian and I will not be afraid. Okay, I just wanted to say those two because they live with me.
For a better world.
Bitch. Let's not,
Okay.
because I have more than I can say.
I know. That's going to be huge.
I'm
for
not
us.
forgiving Aiden. Just saying. Aedion? How do you fucking say that?
Aiden.
Aiden, right?
I think
The way
so.
he treated Lysandra, he's on my shit list. Okay, anyways, I'm done. So,
But you got me going.
I know.
Okay, so anyways.
Okay,
sorry.
so Finnick. I just love him so much. I thought he was such a well-rounded character.
I think he was
and
such
I
a
loved
well-rounded.
to see him unravel in the third book.
Yeah.
Where it's like he is good at putting on a mask, because in the second book he looked put together and this and that and on his P's and Q's.
I know.
And like,
Okay, so that's the other thing I wanted to say before we moved on, right? Like him in the hospital.
dude, with the fucking piece of rope.
I know.
He's the one who gives Katniss the rope. He's like,
Yeah,
here.
that's his coping mechanism.
When Annie comes back, he gives her that rope.
I know. And then they see. Okay, so this was interesting. When they see the clip of Peeta and he was like, don't tell anybody you saw that.
love
To
that
see, I
part.
fucking
I
love
was
that
like,
part.
you're so fucking smart.
Because how did he learn that?
Years of experience.
Years of being fucking betrayed.
No, years of knowing the fucking system. He knows what the fuck is, and it's crazy too, because it's like he knows how the Capitol works. And even in District 13, where it's like a safe haven, he's like, I know what the fuck is going on here too.
But they both realized it a little too late, right?
No,
but
Katniss was like for like half of the book, and then
she was like, "Oh shit, I'm in the games again."
Yeah.
But it's a different. Yeah, that's true. But
Katniss, I love her, but the girl is just like very one-dimensional.
agreed.
She doesn't see the bigger picture, and
Agreed.
it needs to be painted for her. And that I love that about her.
Yeah,
because like
it's real.
Same. Like sometimes you need to spell it out for me. A lot of the time you need to spell it out for me.
I have anxiety. I'm like a bit of a game.
I've got anxiety. Ooh.
I saw this post the other day on Instagram that said something like, someone random says, "I had no idea this was gonna happen." Someone with anxiety. I thought this could happen. My husband will literally put movies on for me and like his video games that he's playing because he enjoys how often I'm able to guess what the end scene is.
Really?
Yes.
How accurate are you?
I'm pretty fucking accurate.
So, and I know we talked about this in Quicksilver. Normally, like, you really can't shock me in a book.
Same.
Like, I could typically be like, this is going to go these ways, right? Like, it's not hard. Even when I was reading ACOTAR, I read the first one, right?
Okay.
And I was very indifferent towards Tamlin. And I have the text messages to prove it because I was talking with my friend about it. And I was like, Rysand gets introduced. I know I'm saying that wrong. Rysand, whatever.
To me, it's Rysand.
To me, it's Rysand too.
But we can.
You have to give us a pass because this is our second language.
I mean, literally.
You have to give us a pass because we're Hispanic and like English is our second language, so I don't know the pronunciation.
Rysand. Rysand.
Fere.
Manon.
Tamlin.
Aileen.
Lucien.
I went out of the room.
Okay, but anyways, like
Nesta. What's the other
Eliane.
bitch's name? I fucking hate her.
I know.
Anyways,
Oh, I don't like Elaine either.
I don't like Elaine at all.
We're gonna need two.
We're
red
gonna
mics.
need 2 red fucking mics. Okay, so
So
go ahead.
look, with Rysand, like when I was reading the first book, I wasn't like, oh yeah, he's my favorite. I love him. I want them to be together. I didn't know.
Yeah.
But I was like texting my friend. I was like, oh, Tamlin is mid. I don't give a shit about him. And like, Rysand got introduced, and then like he ends up being, they go under the mountain, and then like, I was texting my friend, and I was like, okay, Rysand's funny. Like, I kind of like him. Like, is he gonna be a fucking problem? And she was like, obviously she had read the series, so she was like, oh, what are you talking about? Like, she was just like kind of trying to like put it off. And then like I was like, I don't know. I just like, I think he's funny. I hope he's not a fucking problem. And then fast forward to the second book, and I was like, wait a minute, is this gonna be a love triangle? And it's like, things don't usually shock me.
I know.
Quicksilver, that little scene where like all 3 of the rulers were together did shock me.
That shocked me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's why that book got saved for me.
That book got saved for you?
No.
Okay.
I mean,
Right. That's why I liked it.
I think that's why it went from I fucking fucking hate this too. Potential.
Right.
It's potential. I mean,
I'll
yeah.
read the next
no,
one.
it's true. It's true. Actually, when I read that scene that they were three were in cahoots,
Yeah, I was like, oh,
I was
shit.
like, oh,
Yeah.
wait a fucking minute.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. Yeah, I agree with that. Okay.
Okay, so Finnick, I mean, I could just talk about how much I love him forever and ever and ever.
I think overall, our summary of him is that I think that he knew how to play the game, and I think that he was so well rounded. And
It
I
doesn't
think
hurt that he was incredibly handsome.
he was too. Yeah, the way he's described,
And then the way he, like, loves Annie.
the way he protects Annie.
The way he loses his mind because he's scared that and then like it's so funny because like Katniss is like, hey Finnick, like I got immunity for like the survivors, like for the
victors.
and he's like, oh good, because I was worried that Annie would say some crazy shit and that they would like, you know, like they would imprison her. And she's like, yeah, I got it for her too. And then she's like, it's a coin. And she's like, you need a fucking pardon, Annie Dumming. And she's like, oh yeah, like I'm not worried about her. And she's like, okay, good. So fucking put her in your speech. But like, even in that, he's in a hospital gown, like with his little fucking rope. And like, Katniss is like, good news. And he's like, oh good, Annie. You know, like, it's like.
Wait a minute. Back the fuck up. How is he allowed to go in this mission?
I think once Annie comes back, you don't see it.
Oh, you're right. He's
He
just like,
comes back. Like, he's no longer in the hospital.
yeah. Okay.
Like, he's having lunch with everybody else.
Yes.
And he is a really good
He
warrior.
masks. And he masks very well. He's
And-
able to compartmentalize
And
wonderfully.
what's his name? Was it Cressida? Was it Boggs? Somebody says like Haymitch maybe. They were like, oh, this is the Star Squad. Plutarch wanted all the victors on here, so he was really upset when Johanna wasn't allowed, like when she wasn't cleared for it. So I think like
I don't like Plutarch.
you know,
I will tell you this. I know that
he was
wasn't
a
on the
lot better
schedule.
in the books. I mean, in the movies, he's portrayed way more like stoic, versus in the books, he's super like, yeah, and who cares? And then fucking Katniss shoots Coin in the heart with a fucking arrow, and they almost like execute her, but then they decide to let her go back to District 12, and he's like, do you want to be in my fucking like show? I'm gonna do a show of singers. You want to be on it? Like he's super
so
like, la la
far
la, give a fuck.
removed.
Yep.
Where when he was like, oh, it's peaceful for now.
Yeah, but also true, because that's politics.
I know.
And he's
It's
in that
true.
fucking world. So it's
It's
like,
true.
I agree with you. He's shady as fuck.
I mean, I'll tell you this. Have you started Snow's book?
No.
I think you're gonna like it. Actually, I think like even being able. Okay. Anyways, I think Plutarch being in this game and being like so, in the politics of this, in the whole thing of like, this is what war is and this is what politics are. I think Snow's book gives you such a background on capital politics that I'm like, holy fuck. But anyways.
Look, honestly, the only reason that I was like, I don't really care is because like the trilogy did something to me that I was just like, I don't care about anybody but Katniss, Peeta.
I know.
You know, like this story, the revolution. But I mean, all these years later, I'm going to walk into it with an open mind. And I'm sure it's going to be great because it's Suzanne Collins.
Correct. Anyways, okay.
All right, so,
Johanna.
okay, Johanna.
Yeah.
This one's fun. I love Johanna,
I love her spunk.
She's
I
a
love
bitch.
her
but I
hatred.
love that.
Yeah, same.
I think she's a tragic character. I wish we could get a book on her too. I mean, I'm saying I want a book on everyone.
I would love backgrounds, but what I looked about, okay.
I just
So
want to
here's
know what happened to her family.
So here's the thing. Yes. But also here's what I'm going to say. One of the things that I really enjoyed about Joanna's character was in the quarter quell when she was like, there's nothing, I'm going to go into the woods or the fort or the jungle or whatever the fuck. And they're like, no, don't go in
where the
because where the
Mockingjays
Mockingjays are. And she's like, there's no one else left. That broke my heart because I'm like,
And
damn.
it piqued my interest because I was like, what happened? And you know
Yep.
okay. So how did Joanna win her Hunger Games?
I don't remember.
She pretended to be like
Dead.
no, weak.
Oh.
She was like, I don't know how to to do anything. I'm scared.
She was
And
underestimated.
then, she was underestimated. And then she got her hands on it and Akon was like, dang, 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 you could get it too. And she fucking decimated people.
Yeah.
But I cannot see Johanna like that.
No.
I can't see her being like
A little weakling.
That's why I'm like, I want a book on her because I'm like, I would love to
How
see
did
how she
get
played
here?
that.
Yep, it's true.
Like, I
Yeah,
can't
that's true.
picture her like that, but that's obviously how she started the games.
Yep. That's actually interesting.
So I also wonder, and I've read something about, I think it was a fan theory, that the reason why Joanna's family was killed was because she refused to be
Play
a
the game.
sex pawn for, the capital.
Well, and we can see that because let's say that we assume that she played like a wolf in sheep's clothing, basically. And then she came back and she was like, and we see her being abrasive during the entire quarter quell and after. Then it makes sense that she never really truly got in line with the capital's want for her.
You know, this just kind of gave me an epiphany too. So there's certain words that we can't say on YouTube, right? But how old were these people when they graduated, when they won, right? And what is being done to them immediately after with adults?
Yep.
That's disgusting. And I never thought about it. It literally right now just hit me.
I know. Because getting reaped ends at 18.
Yeah. So what the fuck?
Yep. And I don't think that, okay, so this was something that I feel.
Wow. Dude, this is like actually like, oh my God, we've had so many epiphanies.
I know. And you know what is interesting is that that didn't really truly hit me until I actually read Snow's book.
Oh.
So I think you'll get a little bit more background on that. But however, like let's go back to the trilogy in this perspective. So you get reaped between the ages of 12, which is fucking insane, and 18, right? But they make careers out of this. So like you can be 20 something, 30 something and be a part of whatever, the capital and all that shit. But she was so abrasive that no one really wanted her around. And that's why...
No, when she pretended that she couldn't do anything.
No, what I mean is like after the games and during the quarter quell.
Oh, yes.
No one liked her.
Yeah.
They tolerated her.
Because they have a conversation, Katniss and her. She's just such a bitch. And she's like, Katniss is like laying there after she got shot with her bulletproof vest. And Joanna's like, you're fine. And she takes her morphine.
Fucking hilarious.
Like,
Give me
like,
that
don't
shit.
Don't be such a baby. It's a bruise. Like, what do you have? And she's like, I don't know, a couple bruised ribs or whatever. And Katniss, like, tells you, she's like, I'm just going to let her have the morphine because, like, whatever. Like, I feel bad, basically. And, bro, Joanna's tragic. And then Joanna's, like, making fun of her, basically.
Yeah, I know.
And Katniss is like, yeah, you should have been the Mockingjay. And Joanna's like, yeah, but nobody likes me. And it's true.
I know. It's so funny because I feel like Johanna is such a strong character and such a bitch, right? But
at her core,
but at her core, I think that she knows what's right. She has a good moral ground, right? But she did say this like in different ways, but it's like, how come it wasn't me?
She even in Catching Fire, she's like poking at Katniss. She's just testing her. Like she's trying. The reason I think that she got naked and got in the elevator was to see like how would Katniss react? How would Peeta react? Like what is this dynamic like? What is Katniss? Because this is the first time they're actually meeting her, right? Yeah. So what they saw on TV, all of them have been in the games. They all know that it's bullshit. They all know that it's all an act and that you're gonna play whatever role you need to in the games to get sponsors and to come out alive. And so when they're all meeting Katniss in Catching Fire, this is the first time they're meeting her, and they're like, I think part of why they're all teasing her is because they're pushing her. Like they're trying to see like, who are you? Let me see you for real.
Let me see if you're worth me fucking dying.
Let me see if...
Because here's the other thing, right? Like the entire quarter quell, everybody has decided we're sacrificing ourselves for her, which is wild. I need to talk about this at another episode, but fuck, man.
That's crazy, right?
But
and you know what's even
everybody's
crazier?
given up, and then they're all kind of like, yeah.
But you know what's even crazier is that they're like, we're sacrificing herself for Katniss and Peeta, not just one person, and Peeta, because Haymitch. Remember when the morphling like throws itself? I think it's a girl in front of the monkeys to protect Peeta, and Katniss is like, "Why?" And Haymitch is like, "Because we knew that if Peeta died, you would have been gone. Like there would have been no
They
Katniss."
knew that.
So not only are you signing up to give your life up for Katniss, who you don't fucking know, but also Peeta,
whoever
two
Katniss is
fucking
important
people.
for, whatever is important for Katniss.
Because what does Johanna do? She puts her life on the limb to save nuts and bolts, which I think I said bolts and some shit like that. Right? And then she's like, I got them for you. And she's like pissed.
What the fuck? And then Katniss was like,
and what does Finnick do time and again? He fucking takes like, I think like a spear or a knife to the thigh to protect Peeta.
And like shows her like we're allies, and she's like fucking confused as fuck.
And she's like, I'm gonna kill him. And like he knows too. He's like, this bitch is crazy. Like I need to be fucking careful with her.
I need to remind her. But no one can say anything. Bro, that was fucking gold.
And you know what I loved when I was reading, because I completely forgot this, when I was reading Catching Fire, how obsessive Finnick was with the bread, that Katniss was like, every time that they would send a sponsor gift, sometimes it was bread and they would count it. And she was like, bro, Finnick is like fucking obsessed with bread, because he would always be like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She was like, you're weird. And then she finds out when she leaves Catching Fire that the bread, every time that they sent like a number, it signified a number on the clock where they needed to be like at the right place at the right time. And she's like, bro, Finnick loves bread.
No wonder him and Peeta are friends.
Oh my god,
I know.
But okay, so Johanna,
I liked how Johanna never let up. Mm-hmm. She was like, I fucking hate this whole fucking thing. And yet she still saw that she needed to play her part and get Katniss
to
the rebellion.
About Johanna in Mockingjay was that she comes back with the same bitch attitude that you meet her with. But you see slivers of weakness, right?
Yeah.
So like starting with, they won't let her out of the hospital.
I know.
So Joanna's like, yeah, I don't give a fuck. Like, give me your morphling. Being like, oh, whatever, I don't care.
Like,
and then you find out that like she's not allowed to leave because she's unstable. They don't trust her on her own. And it's like she won't talk about how fucked up she is after what the Capitol did to her. She tries to act like I'm fine. I'm fucking still me, but she's not.
No.
And then Katniss is like, okay, I'll bunk with you. And they bunk together, and Katniss takes her pearl, the locket, her Mockingjay pin, something else. I think a picture of her dad or something. I don't remember. She takes a few things, like 4 or 5 things.
Yep.
And she looks at Joanna's side, and Joanna has nothing. The blanket that they gave her. And she's like looking at her shit, and like they're like kind of looking at each other, and she's like, Joanna's like, what is all this shit? And Katniss is like, oh, this is like my stuff, like my personal stuff. And she's like, oh. So then Katniss is like, this bitch has nothing, and she feels bad.
I know.
And she goes into the woods, because remember, she's allowed to have a few hours in the woods, and Joanna's from the lumber district, and she goes and like grabs a bunch of pine needles and puts them like in a cloth or whatever, and she gives it to Joanna, and she's like, like this could be one of your things or whatever. And Joanna just like kind of looks at her, and she's like, thanks. But you can tell like Joanna's trying so hard to keep that shield up, to be like, I'm good, I don't give a fuck the Capitol, I'm Joanna. But you see constantly like slippages in Mockingjay, and the part that's like the most like shield down, bitch, like you are fucked up, and it's like, it broke my heart, was when they're training, right, or they're doing the test to see if they can be in the like Star Squad, which at the time they didn't know that's what it was, but that's essentially where they're going. And Katniss's test was to see if she would follow orders, and Joanna's test, which we talked about this in the first episode, I think,
the water,
and she just fucking loses it. She goes manic. I love Joanna. I love her character. I love how abrasive she is, because behind the abrasiveness, there is substance. And I think she just heavily guards that shit.
So overall, I think that Joanna's entire story was like I wish we'd get more, but I think I really liked the way that, like, okay. Not only did I like how she came off to Katniss, it broke my heart that she wasn't able to go into the war and that she didn't survive the water, right? That was like heartbreaking. But
I think it was good for her.
it was.
And also she survived because of that.
Was there water?
No, but Finnick died, so I'm sure she would too.
So true. Okay. But when the victors are victors when the
Los
victors when the victors are voting for the next Hunger Games and she's like, fuck them capital kids, I thought that was crazy. Like, it tracks.
What would you have voted? It's so hard to say without being in it.
Question.
It's really hard to say definitively without having been a victor, because I think that shit changes you.
Man, I don't know if I like my answer, but I think I would have been a Johanna.
So without actually having been in the games, in this perspective, which again, I think it's very different once you live it. I think I would have said no, only because
you're better than me.
No, because if it was an acute thing, I would have been like, yeah, fuck them. But because I don't trust the government, I would have been like, no, because we're going to continue this shit. And then it's going to be the same fucking thing all over again. That is the only reason.
But Coin said it. Coin said it was just once.
Yeah.
What?
But
I hear you.
Katniss says it. They're in the round table. And she's like, how was this conversation when it was the original, like, capital people deciding the district's fate? Did they say it was only going to be one time?
Yeah, I got you.
So I think, because, like, okay, I present myself here as, like, more composed, pero yo soy una arrebatada. You know, I have
Estamos loca.
the both of us, you know, like, we get pissed and like we feel how we feel.
Sagittarius here.
No, fuck around with us. I don't even know what the fuck like those signs mean. I've heard Scorpio before.
I know it sucks because you're not into astrology.
I know
but
my
I
sign.
fucking am, and I know this bitch
Are we
is
compatible?
fire.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
your
you know
sign
me,
is
so you
fire,
know that.
though. Did you know that?
Yeah, I know that.
Okay.
I know like the traits about my side, but like I don't know like anything else.
I think you're a bad bitch. So,
I think
well,
you're a bad
regardless
bitch.
of your fucking sign.
But
So
okay,
anyways.
so I think in the heat of that shit would have been like, yeah, fuck these capital people.
Yeah.
Let them fucking feel this shit. But I think in this version of me,
Yeah.
without having been through the Hunger Games, I would have been like, I don't trust that this is only going to be a one-time thing. I think we're setting the precedent. And this is also as an adult. As a fucking teenager, I absolutely would have been like, fuck that shit. Because remember that they're teenagers.
That's a good point.
Katniss is 17 or 18.
What? Listen to me. I fucking hesitated because I'm not a teenager in this moment, and I still ended up at like, I would have said
Do you
yes.
remember 16-year-old me?
Fucking 16-year-old us?
Do you remember
Get
what we
the
were like?
fuck out of here.
Bitch, we were menaces.
We were...
In not a bad way. We weren't horrible like that. But like we
I
were
feel
just
like
very
we
like...
had a lot of rage.
Yeah.
I think we had a lot of rage. I think that we went through a lot of hard fucking shit. And...
You know that we would have both like thrown ourselves on the table and been like, fucking kill them. Like,
fucking started tomorrow. Reap them now.
Reap them motherfuckers. Like,
100%.
2 quarter cross. Like, we would have just been like
Fucking
savages.
double the reapings. 4 people. We're so fucked up.
I make sure Snow's granddad. Like, we would have been like super insane.
Added everybody in their 20s. Fuck them.
I put Snow in there too. Like,
Fuck yeah.
We would have been.
The fuck out of here. For sure.
We would have been disastrous.
Disastrous, yeah.
But
so it's a good point. I think I would have said yes.
at the time, as a teenager, I definitely would have said
I relate
yes.
to Johanna in that decision because I'm like, yeah. Which again, like,
And the capital, here's the thing too. She's been through the system in the capital.
yeah.
So she has way more rage than...
because what did she win? So we know that Finnick is the 65th.
Oh, I don't know. I think she was 70-something. But her and Finnick were friends, so they had to be in close proximity.
She won the 71st. So it was
Okay.
one after Annie.
Okay.
So pretty quickly after a few years before the Quarter Crawl.
Yeah. You know what's
So
funny
she won
is
on
that
71.
Finnick, like,
Peeta and
liked her
Katniss,
as a
73.
friend.
Yeah.
Which speaks to, like, Johanna is, like, putting up a front. Because,
Correct,
like, behind the
100%.
scenes, there is something. Finnick is not, like...
And Finnick probably coached her into being that personality to not get...
I think Johanna has been Johanna.
No, it's true. It's true. But I think
there's
that
some
he has at one
personalities.
point
Yeah, no,
mentioned-
I'm sure
yeah.
he has definitely given her some
Yeah.
guidance. But so yeah, as an adult, I would say no, just because I know that once you give permission to something to the government, it is very hard to take it away.
Yeah.
So that's as an adult. But as a teenager, I think I absolutely would have been like, yep, let's do it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, Johanna is one of the ones.
I think honestly, like, and I have to say it just because it's what's on my mind, but I think as a teenager, 1,000%. As an adult, I'm like 95% sure I would have said yes.
As an adult, completely different. Only 95%.
Instead of 1,000, 95.
You see how much we've changed, right?
I have improved by like 5%.
Wait,
if I'm being
so
honest.
what do you think Finnick would say?
No.
Think he'd say no?
I think he would totally say no.
I think so too.
Annie knows that he would have said no.
Yeah. But as his partner, and he's
But
no
if
longer
Annie would have
alive, she has
passed
a
away,
different...
He would have been like, burn this shit to the fucking ground. Just like I think Peeta would have changed if Katniss.
Oh, absolutely, he would have. Yes, he would have.
I actually
No.
don't think I don't think Peeta would have said yes to it. Actually,
I think Katniss has been his driving force
yeah.
for so long that if she wasn't there
Yes.
anymore,
I still don't think Peeta
although
would have.
maybe because he was
voted
like
for
very much
capital kids.
traumatized.
But I still don't think he would have voted for capital kids to die.
I think that if Katniss had died, it would have been Peeta's villain arc.
Damn.
You don't think so? He was so deeply in love with... Okay, I didn't have it out.
So here's the thing,
He said,
yes.
fuck my whole family. I want to die in these games for you.
Bitch, but he fucking said that when he was leaving the first time.
But there you go. He's been in love with this bitch forever.
No, but what I'm saying is like he didn't give a fuck about his family from the beginning because they didn't give a fuck about him. So I can see that.
Yeah.
And I could respect that.
You don't think so, though?
But I think that Suzanne wrote his character in such a moral high ground, but not pesado. Like, not like, oh, he thinks he's the best. No, I think Pete is actually like the best hearted person in this entire fucking series. But I still don't think even if he would have lost his love, I don't think his personality would have been like, fuck him all up.
But Peeta, until his family died, and he didn't even really give a shit about them, but still, you still love them, right? Like, even if you don't care, you love them. He had never experienced heartache and, like, true despair. It wasn't until, first of all, he was, like, mentally mutilated by the Capitol and then finds out that his family dies. So it's not the same. But, like, losing Katniss, I think really would have changed Peeta once he came back to himself.
I think it would have changed him. I think it would have changed him. I don't think he would have picked doing a Hunger Games with the Capital Kids.
Okay,
I don't think
I
it's.
can respect
I don't
that.
think it's his
I don't
personality.
stand firmly here. I think.
Yeah, I get
think
you.
You could be right.
Yeah, I think you could be right too. I think it depends.
I'm always right.
I just think. I just think that it would be a very different personality trait. Like it would have been, you don't have any idea how someone's going to break.
Yeah, you're right.
You know?
Right.
But if we're looking at his track record, he is always kind-hearted.
Yeah.
I think that he can compartmentalize, like, I lost the love of my life and fuck you people, and 12-year-olds don't deserve to die.
Okay, I mean, I really don't know.
Yeah.
I think that I think it could go either way. I
Yeah,
really don't
I
think
could
that
agree.
I'm like, you're wrong or I'm right.
No,
Like,
I don't think you're wrong either.
I think it's so hard to tell because Peeta is so pure.
I know. That's the thing.
And the only time we see him like really lose something,
us.
he's completely gone.
Look at us coming back to Peeta.
Look at that.
Look
How
at
many
that.
times
How
have we
many
said Peeta?
fucking times have we been like, I just want to talk about Peeta.
It's because we haven't gotten it off
I
our
know,
chest
I know
yet.
we haven't, but we will.
Okay, so
Cinna. I know. Listen.
I love Cinna.
Okay, so here I'm gonna introduce these characters because I think it's important for us to talk about all of them. So we have Cinna, right? And
The star.
Yes. And then we have, what the fuck is that? How did I even get here?
Flavia.
So we have Flavia.
Oh, it's a boy?
I actually have no idea.
No, I thought it was Flavia.
No, it's called Flavius.
Okay.
Flavius, Venia.
Octavia?
Mira, Flavius, Venia, y Octavia. Okay, all three of them are part of the design. And they make up the design team that Cinna is the head
Okay,
of.
how do you feel about the design team? And not including Cinna.
Okay, so not including Cinna, I think they're hard to like at first, right?
I'm super indifferent towards them.
I agreed, but okay, so yes. But I think that Suzanne Collins, again, hitting it out of the ballpark and making them totally unrelatable.
Yeah. Yep.
Totally unrelatable. You're coming from a dystopian vibe, right? Like this girl's like fucking getting basically made up to get murdered. And they're just here excited to make her up for murder. And you're kind of like, are you guys like totally missing the mark? But no, they do a really great job in describing how the fuck the entire capital is seeing this shit, right? So at first you're like, these people are like fucking materialistic, like disgusting, soulless. Look at us. What?
Twins. Okay,
Disgusting, soulless humans.
What a
right?
genuine reaction.
I know, right?
I was like, oh my
Fucking
God.
love us. So like completely soulless humans. And then like through the rest of the story, you see like they don't think the games are bad. They never do. But they become attached to Katniss as a human. And then they start crying and they don't want to do this. Yes. So like, again, completely indifferent to them in the first book, but in my many rereads, I kind of got the vibe of like, oh damn, they wrote them perfectly, right? Totally unrelatable, totally like materialistic, totally like missing the whole fucking point. Second book, they become so emotionally like distraught
Right.
at her leaving again that you're kind of like, oh, these people are actually kind of human. And then in the third book, when they are being held like prisoners.
Okay. So that part was, I think it was multi-layered.
Yeah.
Number one, I think it shone a light on like District 13 is not as pretty as you think it is.
Yep.
Number two,
Same game, different vibe.
layers. Yep.
Yep.
And when I saw that, I was like, what? How the tables have turned.
Oh, yeah.
Where you were once at the tippity top, and look at you now at the very, very bottom.
Yeah.
And then also the way they were treated, where they were like shackled and like
Naked, basically.
I also
Very
was
good,
like, what was the necessity there? Like, why? Okay, they committed a crime.
Yeah.
Put them in a cell with a toilet
But
and
like
clothes
they
on.
wanted to disgrace them.
Right. Why? Would they have done that if they weren't from the capital?
No.
Okay. So I
No.
thought that scene was very interesting because I was like, this is a lot to do
For like these random
for
designers.
trying to steal a little more food.
That's so true.
You're talking about stripping. Not only are you taking their clothes off, not only are you not providing a toilet, it's a drain. I'm right? Is that how you remember it? A drain in the middle of the room?
A drain in the room.
They are with each other. When have they seen each other naked before? You know, like, that's an intimate thing. You're not only degrading them individually,
like-
you're also
Yeah.
doing it in a show. Like, it's a fucking show now. Like, you're all gonna look at each other and you're all gonna piss and shit on the floor
Yep.
and watch each other cry. Like,
Yep.
it's almost like Coin is as ruthless and disgusting as Snow.
I cannot even engage with that.
No, we
because,
can't
like,
right now.
Jesus fucking Christ.
But
yes,
I did want to touch on that.
But it is important to notice because I think you bring up a really good fucking point that that is another epiphany that Katniss has where it's like,
Like, what the fuck is this?
where are we at?
Yeah, and it's funny because it's by accident. Plutarch
Yep.
is just like, oh, let's get your design team. Where are they? And then he finds them. He's like,
He didn't even fucking
didn't
know. He didn't fucking know.
And it's like,
Why is this fucking game? Why the fuck is this book so good?
dude, but like, do you see how like intricate everything is? Because like I didn't really think about it too deeply until right now when you were talking about it. And I was like, when I read that in my head, I was like, I felt icky.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, why?
Because they're so dumb. They're so innocent and like, okay, not innocent, but what's
They're
that
so
word?
naive.
Yes. And like, naive, but also like
Privileged and naive. Like it's like
Yeah,
very privileged
yeah.
people can't understand the struggles of
innocent in a way.
Right.
Like very like, this is the way the world is. And like, blah, 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 blah. There's no depth.
Yeah,
here,
it's kind of
right?
like when they offer Peeta and Katniss that drink that makes them throw up. And they're like, here, just take it. Knowing that they're from District 12, an impoverished
And
district.
Peeta and Katniss look at each other like,
they're disgusted.
disgusting.
But they can't
Which is
grasp
disgusting.
that concept.
That's the thing. They can't grasp. That's such a great way to put it. Yeah. They can't grasp that. Like, this shit's weird.
Yeah.
This shit's like not good.
Like, this is not normal.
This is
and
fucking
also,
bad,
time and
yeah.
place, maybe not with them, like maybe with each other, but like these people, these little fucking poor kids, like, let's not do that in front of them.
And they're kids. We have to keep going back to that. But anyways,
so, yeah,
I generally
the
think that.
design team, what do you think of them in general?
So overall, I think that it was very nicely written that we get introduced to them in a very like, they're so unrelatable. And then we see them more human with the second reaping and that they become attached to Peeta and Katniss. Well, no, like Katniss basically.
Yeah, because Peeta has a
And
different
then,
team.
yeah. So then with Katniss, and then we see them again on Mockingjay, and they're like totally stripped of who they are completely, and they don't know what the fuck is. They have no idea what's right and wrong. They're learning
And
that
you know what's
people
funny is like,
don't live that way.
they don't say it, and it's not described like this, but you could tell that they're disgusted by like their situation. Like they're like,
The food and stuff. They have no idea people live like this, and it's like such a shock. There's not a lot to say about them, but that's kind of
like
my
them
whole
in
thing.
general. I didn't care. I was very indifferent. In the first book, I was like, ugh, eye roll every time. In the second book, I didn't care again.
Yeah.
The only time that I was like,
Oh,
somewhat, was when they all start crying with Katniss, and I was like, okay, so then you do have the
care.
ability to understand that this is fucked up. But past that, I never really felt anything for them. Even in the third book, really the only thing I felt in the third book was like icky towards that situation
Yeah.
because it revealed like,
coin.
yeah, like a deeper, darker truth
Yeah, like
to
why
District
are they
13.
in the basement?
Like it was
In the
too
dungeon,
degrading,
really.
you know?
Yeah.
Like it was intentionally humiliating.
Dumb. And that's the thing, they're dumb. Like
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you behave that way with people like
It was
in the
overkill.
government.
It was
That's
overkill.
The thing. It's government.
And here's
yeah.
the thing: like, it can be overkill individually. Like, okay,
Yeah.
we're gonna take your clothes away. You're not gonna have a toilet. You're gonna sit on the floor and pee and shit yourself. But you humiliated them intentionally. You wanted all three of them to see each other in their
Yep.
most disgusting, humiliating, disparaging way
Yeah.
to humiliate them further.
Yeah, she didn't even recognize them at 1st They didn't recognize two out of three of them, I think.
So what I will say is that that team, what are they called? The makeup team or whatever?
Yeah. The design team.
The design team. What I felt for them was different from what I felt for Cinna.
So Cinna.
Cinna, I want to say before we even like start talking about Cinna for real, we in the first Hunger Games episode talked about how much foresight did Haymitch have, right? Into like the star-crossed lovers theme. Yeah. But if you read the book, the very first hint of anybody uniting them was Cinna. Because before Haymitch says anything about like, you guys are going to be a unit, this and that, he tells them, hold hands on the chariot.
Yep.
And Katniss internally is like, people don't do this. Like the victors don't do this. They just stand stoically. And he is very clear that like, you guys are going to be matching and you're going to be holding hands. Yep. And that to me was like,
What are you up to?
Wait a minute. So was this like a conspiracy or something from very early on? Which I feel like it's kind of impossible because, like, how could they have known that the next year would have been a quarter quell?
Plutarch.
But, like, how could he have known that Katniss would win? How could he have known about the berries?
I know we're going to get into conspiracy yet another time, but here's the thing. He made her a rebellion design
Okay.
for when she fucking landed in 13. So he fucking knew that there was a 13.
No. I think that was, like, in Catching Fire. He created that. He designed that, like,
Fine,
with the
fair.
wedding stuff. And
Yep.
I mean, that's what I think. I could be
Yeah.
fucking completely wrong.
But yeah, okay, fine.
But when I was rereading it this time, I was like, wait, why are they holding hands?
Yeah.
Like, why? Because Katniss is like, wait, what? Like, internally, she's like, no, pictures don't do this. And she's like, looking at him like, what the fuck?
And Haymitch was like, do everything the designer tells you to do. Don't question it.
Right. But okay, here's the thing. How much communication did Haymitch and the designers have? And when did it start? And at what point? Like, this all sends me through a black hole because I'm just like,
there's no answers.
but there's Easter eggs. And I'm just like, so when the fuck did
was
this,
it?
like, unity, star-crossed lover bullshit start?
Do you
and
imagine
why?
it's really in the prequels? And everybody's looking at us like, bitches.
Dumbasses. Fucking read them.
Fucking read them.
Dude,
We
I don't
still
know.
have the
But you know what? I
prequels.
think it's a really good thing that we are talking about the trilogies without reading
The prequels?
the prequels
Yeah.
yet.
Same.
Because if there is some revelations in there, it'll
We're
be
going to have
such
to
a
do
full
another
circle
one.
moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, that really stuck out to me with Cinna. Aside
I also
from
think that one thing, I think also with Cinna in that specific topic, not only did he tell them to hold hands and whatnot, but at one point, he's very like, and I don't even think that prior to that, a lot of design teams always work together in that way.
Right. They have different design teams, which is something she mentions, like, oh, Peeta has a different design team, but her and Cinna are like in
Cahoots together.
Essentially,
basically.
like they're like
Yeah.
going through the designs together and stuff
Exactly.
like that. So that specifically stuck out to me this reread, where I was just like, because I had so many questions this reread.
Yeah.
I hadn't read them since like
Yeah.
I don't know, hace año, like 6-7 years. So when I was reading them, it was like I remembered things, but it was very fresh faced for a lot of other things.
I think that Cinna is such a complex, like, I think I'm going to have to reread.
There's so many secrets with him.
There's so many secrets with him, but I think overall, one of the other things, right, is he volunteered
Yes.
for design.
Why?
Why?
Nobody wants District 12.
No one wants him.
Why?
Why?
So, oh my God.
And we don't have any
And there's no
answers.
answers. Yeah. That's
I
the
know.
crazy shit. It's that, like, we don't fucking know. I know it was intentional from Suzanne.
So here's my thing.
Okay.
This is like my longest working theory. I think the rebellion was put in place and they were waiting for their spark.
Okay. I can get behind that.
I think that Cinna, Plutarch, Haymitch, Finnick, Johanna, I think everybody's been talking about this forever.
I can get behind
And
this.
they didn't know when and how they would show up or how they would start this off. And Katniss was like at the right time, at the right place.
Okay, so actually, I think that this tracks because Katniss says very specifically, she's like, there has never been a volunteer in District 12, ever. And she says, siblings are reaped, and the other siblings,
Say
it
nothing.
is understood and accepted that, like, if you get picked, you get picked, and there's nothing that can
Yep.
happen from there.
Yep.
So Katniss doing this, she acknowledges, is an anomaly. It's not normal. It's weird. And then she even says, like, her whole district does, like, the 3-finger salute, where it's like a sign of, like, grievance and respect kind of thing. So actually, that's a really good theory, and I think you might be right, actually. Because it's Cinna's first year.
Correct.
And he chooses.
volunteered.
Yep. And who's going to argue with him? Like, yeah,
No.
if you take just 12, who cares?
Which, again, right? Yes. And so, like, even in the train where they were on the way to the Capitol for the first time and Haymitch is drunk and Katniss is like, yo, help me, you know? And
Right.
Peeta basically, like, punches him. You like,
Katniss is just like fucking stank facing him like.
Yeah,
Peeta's
yeah.
the one
Peeta's
who's
like,
bitch. That's
oh
my
my
man.
God, I fucking love that
That's
guy.
my fucking man.
Jesus. Peeta. And Haymitch kind of like snaps out of it. And he's like, oh shit, I got fighters. And even that showed me like how many people has he mentored that just were never going to cut it. And now he's sitting here looking up in his like drunk stupor or whatever. And he's like, wait a minute. Right? And then he cleans up. Not in the best way, but in the
he's
like,
okay, I'm going to pay attention. So, okay, this is like a little bit of a sidetrack, but like in the movie, remember what happens when like Peeta starts being an asshole to Haymitch and he's like, bro, like take this shit seriously. Like, what does Haymitch do? And like Peeta tries to take his drink away. What does Haymitch do to him? Because he doesn't punch him in the movie. He puts his bare foot on him. Do you remember that?
I don't remember.
Bro, and his fucking Woody Harrelson's nails are this big. And they're like, I'm like, but why did you not get a pedicure?
I don't remember that. But just so that you guys know, up and coming after we finish Haymitch, Peeta, and
This is
Katniss,
exciting.
I'm very excited. We are going to review every movie versus the book.
And you can await that conversation about the foot because I was so upset. I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
I don't even
And I'm
remember
not even
that.
trying to
I'm
hate
so
on your
excited
feet,
to
Woody
watch
Harrelson,
this.
because I think you're great. But like, why did you do that? That's ew.
I don't even know. Like, I have no image in my head, so I'm excited to
You're gonna
watch
have
it.
one,
I'm
because
gonna
I'm gonna
have to
zoom in for
fucking
you.
watch it. Okay.
If I had to fucking see it, you're
So
gonna have to
excited.
fucking see it.
If you have any, okay, so we are trying to figure out if, like, are we gonna watch it live as we comment, or are we going to write notes and have an episode? If you guys want, like, one or the other, let us know. But anyways, I didn't fucking know that. I'm gonna have to go back and look at that. But yeah, like, so that's the thing. Like, I think we can talk for like another 3 hours
I really
just
like
on
that theory, though.
conspiracies.
I really like, and I honestly kind of feel like you're right.
I think so.
Because people are fed the fuck up. By the, I think you said it. By the time that Katniss, like, does the slightest little rebellion, everybody's already ready to fucking throw their hands up because they're over this shit.
But here's the thing, and then that exactly is what happens in the Quarter Quell. Why did every motherfucker that went into the Quarter Quell was like on site? I like not only on site, I'm gonna protect this bitch and Peeta, but
And
I'm
they say
going
it too,
to
that most of the victors
sacrifice
were on their
myself.
side.
I'm going to let something fucking kill me,
Yep.
so that these two will survive.
No, I think you're right. I think you're right, and it's crazy that you say that because I had never even thought of it like that.
I know. So, anyways, conspiracy next
So
time.
yeah, conspiracies next time. But Cinna, I loved him.
Yeah.
I thought I loved his relationship with Katniss. I thought it was so sweet.
Resilient, sweet.
I thought, I don't know, just the way that he was like, even in the very first book, he's like, I'm sorry, like this is all probably like crazy to you, right?
Aware.
Yeah, I wonder where the fuck he's from.
That's what I'm saying. So you get introduced to Cinna and the design team, and the design team is like, whoa, fucking dumb as
They're
shit.
like pink and blue and orange
fucking,
and green. And,
yeah, like fucking totally capital fucking pigs. Sorry, but they are. They are. They're fucking pigs because they fucking stuff themselves and throw up and fucking stuff themselves again, and don't give a shit about the amount of people and children that are fucking dying and starving. And then you bring in Cinna, and he's like, actually, like, I'm a whole designer of a whole team on this game.
I wonder what district he's from.
This fucking sucks.
I wonder what
And
district
he
he's
like
from because
meets her there.
yeah, I think you're right. I think he very intentionally went into this with rebellion in mind.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder, like, where are you from? And we never get that context.
And I just want to know, Suzanne, if you plan on giving us this. Because
I think we're always going to have questions. I don't think she's
I
ever going to
know.
answer everything.
it's crazy that I have never heard an interview of her. I'm going to have to look it up.
Because I think I read online that she is very intentional with, like, here it is, yeah. Like, she does not...
Engage.
There are authors that leave things open for interpretation, and I think she's one of them.
Yeah.
But so, okay. I think Cinna is more complex than I initially was thinking walking into this. I do love him. I think that he is such a good character. Yeah. I love his relationship with Katniss. I love how he understands her. I love how he's probably the only person in the Capitol that has made her feel true, genuine, like...
I love that he uses art as like
for.
a way to help her.
Yeah, and I love that he like designs her beauty in different ways. So when she wins the first Hunger Game, he has her looking very girly, and he tells her like, Mama, you're in trouble.
Mama, ponte para los pigtails.
Because calladita, sonrisita,
flirty,
linda,
and tú eres
little pigtails, curly hair. He has her in yellow, in this, in pink, and like very frilly, very cutie, very tiki 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 tiki. Because he's like, we need to save your fucking life.
Yes, it reminds me of like court, like in our life, in the mortal realm.
In the mortal realm, okay.
How like when you go to court, you have to act a certain way. And like you speak to the jurors and you speak to the judge. And it's like, that's exactly what he was doing. He was like, I need to make an image happen here to save this bitch.
He's like, controlate, bitch. Cállate. And he's like, play that fucking love up. We're going to make you super girly. And then in the second one, he's like,
now we're angry.
And love.
Oh, well, yeah.
In the beginning.
Yes, true.
And as soon as it's quarter quell shit, he's like, okay, fuck this shit.
Now we're fucking angry.
Fuck them. You're a woman and don't smile. Ni se te ocurra. Serious as fuck. And fuck
don't
these
wave.
people.
Don't laugh.
And then, you know, bro.
He knew though. He knew that he was going to die.
You know that he was like, if I do this shit, my ass is dead as fuck.
Yep.
And he willingly sacrificed himself
100%.
to further the rebellion.
To make an image before anyone thought it was an image.
Yep.
Because
to
solidify. Because
and
they
it's so
still
crazy because it's like the pin came to fruition.
Yep.
And there's no way that pin was planned.
No.
I know you have theories here.
I have theories here.
I know you do.
But I shall
because
wait.
we talked about it in
Macy.
the previous one.
Macy Lee or
it's
something.
Madge. We fucked it up. It's Madge. I looked it up. Her name's Madge.
Oh, Madge.
It's not Macy.
Oh, shit.
Yep, we fucked it up. I was like, Macy. I was Googling and it was like, you mean Madge? And I was like, who the fuck's that?
Why
And
do
they
we
were like,
fucking suck at this shit?
mira, ven, make sure that I'm not fucking wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's Madge.
Maybe.
Too bad. I was like,
Macy Lee is the twin though.
maybe. I don't fucking know.
That's who I meant, I think.
But the friend, Katniss's friend.
Macy Lee Donner is the character in Hunger Games. And I'm going to stop because it went to the Sunrise of the Reaping.
Okay, so it's not her, it's Madge.
No, Madge gave her the pin.
Yes.
Katniss's pin.
Yes.
But the pin came from Macy Lee.
Okay.
Okay.
Whatever. You were right with something.
Yeah. Okay, so listen.
I know, and I don't want to get into that because we got to wrap it up.
Yeah, but listen. Cinna knew that he was going to die for his decision, but he said, don't smile, get on the chariot or whatever the fuck, don't smile, don't wave, you're mad, you're angry, because he's mad and he's angry.
Yep.
And then what does he do? He continues to engage in the Mockingjay before the bitch is even the Mockingjay. Makes her twirl into a Mockingjay, and he was so far ahead. He built whatever the design for
and he knew he was gonna die because he had it made, the design sketched, everything before he was killed.
Before she was even the Mockingjay.
And he handed it to somebody who probably Plutarch. So Cinna,
Haymitch.
Plutarch, Haymitch. There was a connection there
Correct.
already.
Ahead of time.
Because there's no way that Cinna just did all this shit by himself.
100%.
And somebody was like, let me check Cinna's closet.
Yeah.
Obviously, Cinna knew what the fuck was going on.
100%.
And by the ways, you with tus miraditas sent me spiraling, and I was like, what if everybody has been waiting for the Mockingjay pin to be put on somebody, and then they gave it to Katniss, and everybody was like, ignite. That's where my brain went when you were like, the pin, conspiracies, and I was like, oh my god, everybody's been waiting for the pin to be on somebody, and it's on Katniss, and that's why all this shit happened. But I don't think that's it. That's where my brain went.
This fucking pin. Do you imagine people watching this like these bitches haven't even watched it?
No, they're probably like, you're wrong. Actually, the pin was like garbage, and then what really happened? It was Macy Lee who told somebody something.
I know, but anyways.
But okay.
So I really just think that Cinna's character was very powerful, and I think that he did it right, and I think it was even like gut wrenching that he was beaten while she was getting into
very
the
intentional
arena.
too, obviously.
Obviously, he was trying to get her off
like
her
throw her
game.
off so that she would die immediately. Yep.
That's That's what she went in for. I have conspiracies that Quarter Crawl was totally planned to get Katniss back in the ring.
No, absolutely it was.
100%. But you know, there's people that don't.
Okay, well, you're wrong.
100%. But there's people that literally think that that's literally in like some fucking locked
No.
box. And like, oh, look, we need to bring this back.
No.
But anyways, okay. So
I think that we've covered pretty much every side character or secondary character. I think the only person left is Effie. I really don't have anything to say about her.
no, I think that it goes back to like the design team for me. Very out of like unrelatable, but in the end sweet. And we don't get anything at the end. We know that she leaves prison at the end of Mockingjay, but we don't hear from her again. Like,
I
she
didn't
gets her ready and
love
stuff,
that
but-
in... I understand why, for the purpose of like brevity. In the third movie, they had to put Effie instead of the design team. But I didn't love that because I was just like, that feels very disconnected. I did like how in the second book, Effie is very obviously like a capital loyalist. And in the second book, you do see hints of her being like, this isn't right, you know, like sadness.
Very same like the design team.
So
Like they drank the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Effie and the design team drank the Kool-Aid. Cinna did not drink the Kool-Aid. So I feel like my opinion of her is very the same. Like unrelatable. Then she got a heart. And then
somewhat.
someone-
Not even.
No, but like someone got a heart, and then at the end of the day, still was like, "What the fuck? Why are people rebelling?"
Right, but you know what's crazy is in the third book, when you see Effie again, she's very like,
Yeah,
she's not like, Katniss, oh my gosh. She's almost like resentful. Not even, because like there are no signs of that.
no, just very like numb.
She's very numb. You could tell she's not really happy with what's happened.
She's getting in line.
Yep.
That's all that's happening.
But she's coming down.
Yeah. But she's coming down. She realizes that the new world that people are driving into is not the one that she's used to, but she needs to shut the fuck up and take it to live. But like, it's not glamorous and happy like she used to be. And she knows that like she's lost her life, but she needs to be quiet because she prefers her glamorous, happy life, even though people die.
Yep. And it's crazy too, because like you know that she's not really happy that she's representing District 12.
Yep.
And she talks about it in the first book. She's like, oh, the previous like tributes were disgusting. Like they ate with their hands. And Katniss is like, and she throws her fucking fork down. She's like, and starts eating with her hands.
Yeah. I fucking love that part.
And you know what? Katniss is sweet because she grows to love
Effie.
very quickly.
Yeah. Like she's like,
And
shit, she's
the
actually
design
not
team.
bad-hearted, but like
Very, very quickly. In the
they're
first
dumb.
fucking
Yeah.
book, she grows affection for the design team, whereas I would have been like, fuck you all. All of you. I don't give a fuck about this or that.
100%. Yeah.
So I think that's it. I don't think there's any characters that we left out secondary wise. I mean, there's
a lot.
Buttercup.
This fucking cat. Bro. Okay, anyways.
I think that we already said what we needed to about Buttercup. I think that's
so-
pretty much everything.
And I think that this sets us up for, I think it's going to be like our favorite episode maybe, where we are going to deep dive into Haymitch, Peeta, and Katniss.
It's going to be a heavy hitter.
And not only like them individually, but like how they show up with each other. And we're going to be hitting, I think our biggest point is like not only the love story between Peeta and Katniss, but like the craziness in the development of the relationship between Peeta and Haymitch, Katniss and Haymitch.
Yeah.
And the heavy fucking hitter conversations Haymitch and Katniss have on the third book, as well as Haymitch being with the Mockingjay in the scene of them fucking
choosing
whether or not they have the Hunger Games for the capital kids.
Which is something that if you watched the first Hunger Games episode, we talked about it. And then we derailed because that's what we do.
We do.
And then we were like, what were we talking about? And we never came back to that.
Yeah.
So we have notes and we're going to discuss that. Yes. So you can look towards our Victor or District 12 Victor episode because we are literally going to be describing the only 3 that we know of.
Yep.
District 12 victors.
Yep. Yeah. It's true. So this is going to be
And I think
the
we
victor.
have a lot to say about all 3.
Yeah. So catch our next episodes because it's going to be crazy talking through these 3 favorites. And then after that, we're going to dive into these movies and the sequels.
Well, we're going to
after.
do the prequels and the movies. So
Not sequels, sorry. We're
Yeah,
going to do so we're going to, I'm going to pause. I fucked it up.
Okay.
So catch us next time because we're going to go through these 3 main characters, deep dive, Haymitch, Katniss, Peeta. And then we're going to do all things prequels with Snow's book and Haymitch's book. And then, because we're going to be fucking in Hunger Games for like ever because we fucking love this series, then we're going to start reviewing movie versus book.
I mean, this is special to us, guys. We really love the Hunger Games.
Yeah, like I think that this is that we're in love with the Hunger Games.
Yeah. I mean, I think we could do so many more episodes. We're really trying to
we're trying to do this quick.
Yeah,
And
it's
every
just
time that
hard.
we like see the end of this, we're like, fuck.
oh, we forgot to talk about this one or that one, or we forgot this, we forgot
Which
that.
I will add a side note to our next episode, just quickly. Caesar. I just gotta talk. I have to
talk about Caesar Flickerman. Fuck.
I know. So we're gonna talk about him.
We were literally just like, that's everybody.
That's
I know.
everybody.
You just said Caesar.
I
We're
know.
like, add him to the fucking list.
Yeah. So we're gonna do a quick side character, and then we're gonna dive into.
Okay. Yeah.
But this is Booked Buzzin. Please leave us your opinions on anything that we mentioned.
Yeah. Let us
We
know any thoughts you have
love-
on Gale. Prim.
We love Gale. So,
No, we don't fucking love Gale, bitch. We love Prim.
but we fucking hate Prim.
no, seriously though, leave us your comments.
love
Give us your
contrary.
insight. Yeah.
Yeah, we love when we have something to fucking fight about.
No, but seriously. No, but specifically, I really do want to know if after hearing this conversation, if we've changed anybody's mind about Prim.
Okay, because honestly, like we never even had this conversation
No.
before this,
And I
so-
never thought about
and
Prim
I've
before
never
this.
heard anyone have an opinion on Prim, and like we're on social media, so
Mm-hmm.
like I can't believe I never came across anyone talking this way about
Yeah.
Prim, and Prim is a fucking terrible character,
Period.
a terrible fucking sister,
Period.
and no one's talking about this because everybody that covers the Hunger Games is just like focus on the main
They like, skirt
storyline.
by her.
Yeah, like Prim is just useless. Ooh, no, she's useless.
I hear
And
people talk about the mom. I don't hear people talk about Prim.
there we go. So
So let
leave
us
us
know.
comments.
Do you agree? Do you disagree?
Did we change your mind? Did we even open your mind to a new opinion?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you team Carla or are you team Ale with Gale? And if you're team Ale, you're wrong.
But write the comment anyway because we're right.
So yeah, let us know.
Booked and Buzzin. We'll
Thanks
see you
for
next time.
watching. Bye.